Access to stats and scores. Just say show me NASCAR or soccer scores. Plus get notifications with breaking news alerts and more when the game's about to start. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit an Xfinity store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
Chiefs fans, this is the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, presented by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
In a game where not everything made sense, the ending certainly did. That game could have ended a lot of different ways, but Chris Jones tapping a pass and L'Jarius Sneed picking it off is exactly how this game deserved to have the bow put on it by the Kansas City Chiefs. A 19-9 victory is a number that I did not see predicted in any corner of the universe, although occasionally a presumed shootout becomes a little more defense heavy. We've seen that before. But tell me what to make of the Chiefs, and really of the Chiefs' defense. Now look, this has tended to happen a number of times now, I understand that. I don't like to move the goalposts after a result. We all said coming into this game that whoever won this game would be able to use it as a signpost game. If the Chiefs beat the Cowboys, they've beaten the class of the NFC. Vice versa would be true for Dallas. Obviously, some things went differently leading up to this game. Amari Cooper was ruled out on Friday. Tyron Smith was ruled out today. CeeDee Lamb was ruled out right before halftime. The Cowboys were not at 100% full strength. Okay? Their offense specifically. We can acknowledge that on the front end. And still put into context 9 points. Not having all of your weapons is one thing. And again, the Chiefs nearly seemed like they were going to be a little bit short-staffed whenever Tyrann Mathieu was a late addition to the injury report. But ultimately, a 9-point effort, even ultimately, again, down their top 2 pass-catching options through the second half. No Amari Cooper at the start. But losing CeeDee Lamb by the half obviously put the Cowboys at a weapons disadvantage. I understand that. But to hold Dak Prescott mid-MVP campaign, to hold him to single digits, and for that to not just be a one-off, but for that to be a continuing pattern of where this defense has arrived right now is, 1, legitimate, and 2, a little bit shocking because of where this defense started the season from. Now, we talked on a variety of levels, a variety of nights and shows and times and places. We talked about where and why and how the Chiefs defense could redeem itself, or at least get back to a point where you weren't worrying about them. We all knew the pass rush needed to improve. A healthy and rejuvenated Frank Clark has been extremely helpful. Chris Jones back in the middle of that defensive line, absolutely mauling people on a Defensive Player of the Year type night for him now. It might be too late for him to go get that back in that race. But if he comes out of the bye and plays like this some more, it won't be too late because he just did it against very good competition today. But to start the way that this team did, where they give up nearly, they're in the 30 range in their games, the Browns, the Ravens, and the Chargers. The Browns scored just 29. The Ravens cross the 30 barrier and win. The Chargers win with exactly 30. The Eagles score 30. The Bills put up 38. Washington, they hold to 13. And you go, all right, maybe there's a little bit of a turnaround, or is that about Washington? Well, then they go to Tennessee, and the Titans blow them out. They put up 27. Now, all of those games, I should note, like whenever the turnover problems were a major issue, that's always good for an opposing offense and then trying to get a little bit better field position. But then what we've seen these last 4 games from the defense is so absurd that we're starting tonight's postgame show with the Chiefs' defense, and I don't even think there's an argument. 17 points to the Giants. That offense is not simply full of scrubs, but it's Daniel Jones, and no one really thinks that Daniel Jones is the real deal, so we'll see what happens next. They get the Packers on the schedule. Well, this is going to be a great test. Oh, Aaron Rodgers is out. Well, what are they going to do against Jordan Love? 7 points against Jordan Love and an NFL offense with Devontae Adams on it. It's a pretty good feat. But let's see what they do whenever they go up against a better quarterback, a guy who's had some success against this defense before and a team that has had some success against this Chiefs team. They hold the Raiders to 14. Oh, well, they just recently lost Henry Ruggs, obviously, and Deshaun Jackson came through and then made a big mistake for the Raiders. Okay, well, then let's see what happens next week. Here's a litmus test game. Oh, well, they didn't have Amari Cooper. He had COVID, and then CeeDee Lamb ended up with a concussion. The teams the Chiefs have done this against recently have had some pretty rough luck, and the Chiefs have gotten some good breaks. Again, not just Cooper and Lamb, but Smith today. Like, there is maybe the most important trio of players on that team offensively, not named Dak Prescott. Might be those 3 guys. If the Chiefs would have had to have played this game without Hill and Kelsey and it's funny, I think of the third. And Orlando Brown, I guess, because that would have gotten bad, even though they did do this without their top 2 right tackles. But, just to stick with the analogy here, things would have looked differently. I understand that. I do. But there's got to be some space for us to talk about these performances where we can say they weren't seeing these teams at full strength, but man, what else could you have asked for whenever they went up against the version of the team that they had across from them? And this is not that stretch a few years ago. I guess it's been more than a few years now, where they, I think it might have been a 9-0 stretch even, but they did it against like 6 backup quarterbacks. Something, I'm making up the numbers now. I can't remember the details, but there was that stretch where the Chiefs won a bunch of games and they did it against a bunch of backups, and there was sort of a tension of like, yeah, but is that real? Is that a real thing, or is that just a product of who the Chiefs are playing, right? That's not this. The Packers to some extent, I guess. But this is the other element of it. Have the week off next week, and then they're going to get the Broncos, and you say, oh, the Broncos have this laundry list of issues, and you'd be right. The Raiders still have this laundry list of issues. The Chargers have these issues all the time. They're slumping now. They got them at a good time, maybe, right? Then it's the Steelers, who have everyone hurt or has COVID or has any number of issues. And then it's the Bengals, who are hot and then cool down. Now, what are the Bengals now? Currently beating the Raiders, I believe. I don't know what the exact score is. They're handling the Raiders earlier tonight. And then you end out the season with the Broncos again. My point going to the rest of the schedule is this. We're talking about the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th games of what is going to be a 17-game season. Or we're looking back at games, whatever it would be, 8, 9, 10, 7, 8, 9, whatever it is. There are not going to be any times this year where the Chiefs or any opposing team or any team anywhere in the sport is going up against the platonic ideal of some other opponent. Everyone is hurt and everyone is missing pieces, and you should account for that in your evaluation. If the Chiefs and Cowboys were to rematch in the Super Bowl and Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb were both set to play, then you should make note of that as you're preparing whatever you think is going to happen in that game before you unleash your prediction or whatever. But I am not going to hold it against the Chiefs' defense that they have gone up against flawed or missing piece opponents over these last few weeks, because everyone is flawed and everyone has missing pieces. And the defense hasn't just squeaked by against those teams. It's been fabulous. the Chiefs' offense today started off with the scripted first 15 and everything out of the gate was peak perfect Chiefs offense. It's just wonderful. All right. They carried all that over from the first half, or from the Raiders game into the first half. And there was a little bit of sputtering, but if you go back and try to do a heat check of where you were at halftime, it was 16-3. And while this game ended up being kind of weird, it was never terribly stressful for me from a will the Chiefs win this game perspective, excuse me. But it wasn't perfect either. I understand that. But to come out in the first half and look like the same team that we just saw beat the Raiders, for me, sort of calmed my nerves on the front of, will we look back at that Raiders game as the anomaly in a positive sense? I mean, that's when they were the best, but they weren't really that version of the team. Or will we look back at that game and say, you know what, that was whenever they did return to their previous form, and that's the version of the team we saw from here on out. Only having 19 points from the offense today is surprising. And the way that this game started, I never would have told you at halftime with 16 points on the board that they wouldn't at least cross 20. Never in a million years. I was like, nah, they're pretty much done scoring here. I'm very surprised by that. And some of the places where the offense did seem to have a little hitch in it throughout the second half is going to be interesting to continue to go back to and try to figure out what worked and what wasn't working, what worked in the first half and didn't in the second. It did feel like the Chiefs were in control this entire game, though. But again, it's going to take me back to the same culprit. Why did they feel in control this whole game? Well, because at no point in particular did it feel like the defense was about to let the Cowboys back into it. Or that the Cowboys were about to collapse, or that the defense was about to collapse, and the Cowboys would just have a couple of plays where they'd dunk the ball over the top of the defense a couple times, and all of a sudden it's a tie game, or it's a field goal separating the two, or whatever it may be. And so here's I will say this dangerously. You ready? Here's my dangerous opinion here on tonight's show. I think the Chiefs' defense is closer to what we have seen over these last 4 games from here on out than what we saw from them to start the season. I really do. And there are several factors for that. One is something we hear all the time, which is that sometimes defenses take a second to gel. And not just personnel-wise, but to figure out your best stuff. Schematically, personnel-wise, what you're good at, what you're not. It's easy. I mean, I don't want to say it's, I shouldn't say that it's easy. It's easier to create this perfect defense played by robots, where everyone, or with nothing but Hall of Famers. But you're going to have deficiencies that are going to come out whenever you have to play these games with an actual roster of human beings. And for the Chiefs, a couple of those guys were creating problems for them defensively. And adjustments needed to be made on a personnel standpoint, perhaps some on a schematic standpoint. And we've seen that evolution. Nick Bolton had a couple of nice plays early tonight. Willie Gay had a couple of nice plays, especially one a little bit later on, where he has uncommon burst for a linebacker. He met Ezekiel Elliott at a spot that I did not expect him to get to. Juan Thornhill is obviously one of this team's 2 best safeties. He was not getting that playing time early in the year. He is now. And really, the Chiefs' 5, it took them a while to figure it out, but the Chiefs' 5 best defensive backs have played excellent football. Chris Jones was a game wrecker tonight, and L'Jarius Sneed was everywhere. It just everywhere. And those 5 of Matthew Thornhill, obviously at safety, and then the combination of Ward, Fenton, and Sneed as the cornerback group there, after a little bit even of a slow start for Snead and some, moments here or there from guys like, oh man, I don't know, is Ward a number one corner? I don't know, but he's a starting caliber one. And L'Jarius Snead, with this version of him that we're seeing again now that we saw from his rookie season post-injury after he came back from that, he looks like a budding star. And Rashad Fenton, and we'll wait to get an injury report on him soon. Hopefully that was not a serious issue. It looked like it might have ended up being a knee pretty late in the game where he crawled over on the sidelines. Fenton is the guy that seems like, it feels like the Chiefs have been trying to keep him off the field, trying to make Mike Hughes work, even giving a shot to DeAndre Baker for a while. And Fenton has just showed time and time again that he should be that guy. The secondary the Chiefs have cobbled together there without really spending much on any of those corners has really come into its own. The linebackers with Bolton and Gay getting increasing work and decreasing work for a couple others has been so important to upping the athleticism of this defense. And then the pass rush, the defensive line, has been night and day with the difference between interior Chris Jones / healthy Frank Clark. And even adding Melvin Ingram, who still has gas in his tank. And then those guys make life easier for everyone around them, which shouldn't be a surprise, but it's true. And it's one of the things that makes evaluation hard sometimes. But I've heard Jarran Reed's name more in these last 2 weeks than I had the entire season before now. I don't think that he was not trying or bad at football for the first 9 games of the season or whatever. But whenever the guys around you are demanding more attention, making more problems, causing more chaos, it makes you better. So you get your cleanup help from Jarran Reed. You get more from Derek Nottie. You get more from whatever defensive end is rotating in at the time. That's good stuff. For a unit that, again, with all of that being said, I do think has done some sustainable stuff here. I don't think it's smoke and mirrors, and they've also done it in different ways. Spags blitzed the living bleep out of Jordan Love. And he picked some spots here tonight against Dak where it seemed to work pretty well, but you don't blitz Dak and Derek Carr like you would Jordan Love, and that's obvious. And they haven't. It's not like they've just been succeeding on the same note over and over again. They have found a variety of ways to make a variety of different guys uncomfortable. And so we'll make some time to talk about the offense because it felt really good to watch out of the gate. And then that sort of, I don't know, it wasn't some sort of abject disaster because they were able to basically put the game away late, kept the chains moving, no big pending comeback allowed for Dallas. I get all that. That's all good for something. But it felt like for a while this was going to be another 41-14 sort of game. We'll get to all of that, because I do want to try to spend some time figuring out where the issues may have come offensively. But the defense was so good tonight that, yes, without Amari Cooper and without CeeDee Lamb for the second half, I know. But even without those guys, I think it is very impressive to hold Dak and whoever is left under double digits. I think holding any NFL offense under double digits with any premier injuries is impressive. And I at this point, I don't have questions about how the Chiefs can take away like one elite weapon because they did it to Devontae Adams and Darren Waller in back-to-back weeks. And obviously, if you want to go back to the first half when CeeDee Lamb was still out there, that was no grand threat to everything the Chiefs were trying to accomplish either. They did a good job with him. Before he left with his concussion issues, he was 3 for 14. And the ultimate play for him in this game, where he hit his head on the turf, was while Charvarius Ward was picking off the ball above him. I don't know what to tell you if you don't have a little bit of excitement about where the Chiefs defense is at right now. I don't know what else I could tell you. If you want to be a skeptic until you see a team up against this unit where you get an MVP caliber quarterback and all the weapons and they're all healthy, that's fine. I'd kind of like to see that too, but we're not going to see it in the regular season. This was as close as that was going to get to the Chiefs in the regular season. In the postseason, if they end up playing the Bucs in February again and everyone gets healthy, which they're not right now, Gronk is perpetually banged up. Antonio Brown hasn't played for a while. No one's perfectly healthy here, and they're not going to get a better test, even from a healthier version of one of these teams they could see after the bye. The Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, Steelers, and Bengals and Broncos, none of them have more firepower than the Cowboys do. The Bengals have some. They've been up and down, but they've got some juice. They do. The Chargers have been up and down. They've got some juice. The Cowboys have been pretty darn consistent, though, for the most part. Their offense has struggled against AFC West defenses, which is kind of weird. But I don't think you need to be a skeptic for no reason on this game. You want to worry about the offense, we'll get to it. But it's a heck of a performance defensively tonight. Chris Jones just spoke to Tom Rinaldi on the Fox broadcast. Let's hear what I think, in my opinion, the player of the game tonight. L'Jarius Sneed was fabulous and all over the place. I don't think anyone on the field for either team tonight was more impressive than Chris Jones. Here he was on Fox just a moment ago.
Alongside Chiefs defensive end Chris Jones. Chris, 3.5 sacks, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery.
It wasn't 4?
They said 3.5 officially. I'm not going to argue with you, certainly. I'm not going to do that. And the tip pass at the end against the highest scoring offense coming into this game. What allowed you guys to be this effective, Chris?
We knew a challenge. We knew it was going to be a heck of a challenge going ahead. They got one of the better offensive line in the league, and we prepared mentally, physically. Offense, defense, we was in for a battle. We was willing to go overtime. We thought the game was going to be a high-scoring game with that proficient offense, led by Dak Prescott, Hell State, baby. But those guys, we came out and played lights out, man. The back end gave us enough time to affect Dak and his throws. And Frank Clark, the D-line, man, we played exceptional tonight.
Chris, Dak is a guy you know very well from back in the college teammates, same draft class. What did it feel like to have that kind of success against Dak?
Oh, man, I knew it was going to be a challenge. I knew it was going to be a lot of fun going against my college quarterback. I was trying to talk to him. He didn't talk to me, so I got upset. You know, Dak, we're boys, Hell State. Like, where's the love? Where's the love?
A week ago, we saw Travis Kelce postgame say that the offense got its swagger back and kind of give us an indication. If that's the case, what did the defense get back here in this one? Show us, Chris.
I think I got my swagger back.
Congrats on a great performance here. Send a strong message, Chris. Well done.
I appreciate it, man. I want to give a shout out to my parents, my mom, my father. I know they are watching. My kids, Drew and Bill, Shiana. Love you guys. Take care. Thank you.
There's Chris Jones from Fox just a little bit ago. Dak wouldn't talk to him. They were teammates. So Chris Jones had to go give him a big hug 3.5 times. I thought they were going to give him an even 4, but I think Jaron Reed got half the credit on that last one. Chiefs are victorious, 19-9. Here's the plan tonight on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. First of all, I'll tell you, it's presented by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. It's also, of course, brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. We will at some point hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. We'll hear from other Chiefs players at the podium. Wouldn't surprise me to hear from Chris Jones, L'Jarius Sneed, Maybe someone defensively. Jones talked on Friday, I think, right? So maybe not. Maybe not the quick turnaround for him. We'll see. 3.5 sacks usually gets you to the podium, but we will hear from a number of the Chiefs at the podium live here. And then Reid, Mahomes a little later on, as well as our friend Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. We'll talk to him at some point, too. But first, let's squeeze in a couple of quick calls, and let's start with Gary. Gary, how you feeling?
Oh, I like what I saw tonight. Like you talked about, one of the things I liked today was on 3rd and 2 when Gay came up and kept Elliott from getting any yardage at all on that catch. If that would have been Hitchens or Neiman after that, would have been a first down and probably a lot more.
Yeah.
That's the difference when you put a guy out there that has that. But another guy nobody talked about tonight, he had a quietly efficient game, was Nick Bolton. He wasn't afraid to go in there and stick his nose in to meet Ezekiel Elliott. He did that a few times tonight. It's just nice to see this defense have guys that aren't afraid to go up and lay the wood. But offensively, I was kind of but that wasn't the. Andrew Wiley made Micah Parsons the defensive rookie of the year tonight. Mm-hmm. He shows he has no business at this level. He's shown it since he's been here. But if you had just a decent right tackle tonight, maybe Mahomes has more time. But I'm still not sold that the offense is all the way back after last week. But let's just hope over the bye week here that Niang gets healthy and we're able to get him back out there, because watching Wiley is not reassuring at all, especially knowing we want to keep 15 healthy going forward. But I'll hang up and listen. It's a nice win, but there's still things we can work on. But, guys, you play the teams that are in front of you. It doesn't matter who's healthy and who's not. We lost to a Baltimore team earlier in the season. They have, 6 or 7 guys out in one game?
Yeah.
So let's not put any stock into that. You play at any given Sunday, guys. I'll hang up and listen. Great show.
Appreciate it, Gary. Always love being on the same page with Gary. It feels good. Totally agree on Gay and Bolton and that particular play from Willie Gay. You're right. Very often, I think, if you go like, does this guy make this play? The Cowboys had a drop early in the game from one of the guys that wasn't Gallup. And you go like, if that's Amari Cooper, does he catch it? Probably. It's probably a first down. Keeps the chains moving instead of a 3 and out. Sometimes that's hard to do. I 100% think that if Neiman or Hitchens are in that spot where Willie Gay made that play on Ezekiel Elliott, let me do this. To not even make it about Hitchens or Neiman, I don't think 95% of NFL linebackers are making that play. But that's the physicality that Gay brings. Bolton is a little bit of a different prototype of a linebacker, but he has the same sort of thing where you can say, hey, there is a dominant trait that these guys have in their physicality in different ways for different reasons, and it totally rejuvenates the middle of that defense. On Andrew Wiley, the only thing I'll really add there is that obviously Wiley is their third choice at right tackle. They drafted Lucas Niang and then still brought back Mike Remmers for the depth, for the competition, for some reassurance, all of that. I liked both of those moves. Andrew Wiley, I would say for the price tag, for what you're reading on the label, I think he's been fine as your third right tackle. The offense will be better with Niang or Remmers back at that spot, no doubt. But occasionally you'll look around the league and you'll see a third string lineman forced into action, and it is absolutely debilitating for an offense. Andrew Wiley hasn't been quite that, despite not being, a Pro Bowler by any means. So I think there's a little bit of wiggle room in there. But yeah, and still more to be done with the offense. I think that's fair as well. And it wasn't an excellent night for the offensive line across the board tonight. Even a guy like Trey Smith, who has played very good football, lots of penalties. Andrew Wiley definitely had his hands full with Micah Parsons. That is an advantage Dallas sort of matchup there. I didn't hear or think about Orlando Brown much, which is not always a bad thing for a left tackle. There's at least one heavy pressure sack quarterback hit somewhere in there where Joe Thuney and Creed Humphrey were basically split by the rusher. That hasn't happened very often. So the Cowboys did create some havoc on the front. Credit to them there. And the Chiefs offensively, I think, did obviously just enough. Again, if you want to be nervous about the offense and everything, again, I think let me say this, and I'm going to take a couple more calls. If you are a little bit wary about how far back the Chiefs' offense is, I think that's totally fine. I think it's inarguable that everyone should feel better than how we felt 2 weeks ago pre-Raiders game. I even think out of the gate tonight, you saw that offense look like the same offense you saw against the Raiders. That gear is there, and the turnovers haven't been quite as prevalent, although obviously there's another bad one tonight off of Travis Kelce's numbers. It's not perfect, but it is better, so I'll take that. Next up, we'll go to George. George, I'm gonna give you whatever space you need here, George.
Were there any good football games on today?
Not that. Vikings Packers was crazy.
Because we didn't watch one.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, I take nothing away. I will take whatever arrows anyone else wants to throw my way. I have no problem with that. Mm-hmm. I'm calling in for that very reason. But I will say this. Do you feel comfortable with as many unsportsmanlike conduct calls played on the Chiefs this year?
I do, as long as we can all agree that pointing is literally worse than like fist fighting someone. Trying to decapitate a player and pointing at them should not be equal penalties in my book, but it wasn't great. It wasn't great. That's fair.
Has or has not Andy Reid every single press conference pointed to penalties and said we're going to fix them?
Yeah, no, I mean he's been doing that for 20 years, I think. Yeah.
My point.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, sure.
Show me that you fix them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair.
It's not that hard to do. Hey, you can take a 6-year-old kid and put him in timeout. Do something with taunting is taunting. I don't care what it is. Mm-hmm. If it's in the rule book, it's in the rule book. Mm-hmm. And I want to thank Chris Jones for the half-price burgers tomorrow, but did he have to make a strong point about it?
Yeah. For you personally, 1 sack would have gotten it done. Yeah, fair enough. You should go get 3.5 Big Macs tomorrow, George. You deserve it.
That's about right. The other side, speaking of points, 2 significant games this year with under 20 points.
Yeah, weird. I don't love it.
And this year, this game, no Mahomes touchdown, not one.
Wow, yeah, because that little Clyde pitch, usually that feels like it's a little shovel pass or something, but that was an actual backwards toss tonight. You're right.
So, people can cheer, people can take grace with the game. I'm happy that for them. Mm-hmm. I never root against a team. I will never do that. But not forward-looking right now. Now, the other side, this is something for you folks. Did you see who lost today?
Everyone, but most importantly, the Titans. Titans losing to the Texans was incredible. And so
Buffalo?
Buffalo lost again. Yeah, absolutely. And Baltimore almost did. They almost got there.
And the Chiefs can win, but they, every announcer kept saying they need help. Mm. They need help to move up in the standings, mm-hmm. in the playoff standings. They're getting it.
Yep, sure are.
It's unreal. And the last thing, sir, is just for you folks anti-Raider out there, I hate to tell you, but the Chiefs' record on Thanksgiving Day is miserable against opponents after a Sunday game.
Okay, run that by me again. I feel like I missed something.
Raiders are going to win on Sunday.
Oh, I see. Oh,
Raiders are going to win on Sunday against a very demoralized Cowboy game after only 4 days. I hate to tell you.
Wow, that won't hurt my feelings too much one way or the other because I think the Chiefs will take care of the Raiders, and I can let the Cowboys live their life however I need to. But I hope that doesn't ruin your Thanksgiving, George.
Well, it never had because, like I said, I'm used to it.
You're used to it. Well, I hope it's a good one. Thank you, George.
Enjoy your family too.
I very much will. Thank you. George is a local Cowboys fan who also I think is rooting for the Chiefs oftentimes, but not today. And so there's a lot of emotions there. I just saw a video. I'll retweet this at JB Brisco. Chris Jones. It starts on Chris Jones, who's just sort of waving his arms and kind of dancing around a little bit at about midfield, and then it pans over to the Chiefs sideline, and there is like there is a choreographed dance going on. This feels like one of those things that you get mad at if you're a fan of the opposing team or if this happens against you, but it's very fun if it's the team that you're rooting for. I'm generally pro sports dancing, but I just retweeted that at JB Brisco because the cinematography is really excellent. You're listening to the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's brought to you by Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play and more power with Powerball with double play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. Let's go ahead and keep running through the calls. Jabba's up next. What you feeling like?
Here we go. Hello?
Yeah, hey, what's going on?
What's up, Josh?
How you feeling?
Good. How are you feeling?
I feel great.
Just leaving Arrowhead, and defense looked great. Joe looked like a beast, back to his normal self, which is a positive. Offense started off the game good, and then kind of got a little shaky, but.
Mm-hmm. What was the fan split at Arrowhead? How many Cowboys fans do you think you saw?
I'd say it's probably 30-90 or 30-60.
Okay. That's all right. It didn't come through on the.
Yeah, I don't know.
It didn't. I didn't mean to make you do math on the radio. Sorry, that's a bad spot for me to put you in. But that's that seems about right.
You know your boy Job was always drunk. But yeah, defense looked good, and just like you guys were just talking about with the dancing on the defense.
Yeah.
The defense came out, and they were in the third quarter doing their little swag surf dancing stuff they did 2 years ago, and they were feeling themselves. So it was good to see the defense play good finally.
Yeah.
They've been playing good.
Yeah, they have, and to see it pay off here today is a huge one. Job, appreciate you listening. Appreciate the call as always. Get home safe, all right?
All right, later, buddy.
Yeah, and to see, again, I know some of this stuff can shuffle around, and sometimes it can go too far one direction or the other. I already did beards. I already got one for you right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. I just gave you another one just in case you didn't believe me the first time. You're welcome. Sometimes you can go, oh, are they focused? Are they too loose? Are they having too much fun? Or you can go, I don't like when the other team is having too much fun. It's disrespectful. Whatever. Wherever you may end up, you can end up too far one way or the other, I think, on that. You want to see your dudes having fun. You want to have a defense that feels like they're not on their heels against anybody. And these last few weeks, they haven't been. Next up, we'll go to Travis. Travis, what's on your mind?
What's up, Brisco? How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm pretty good. So, a couple things. One, on the penalties that George brought up, I mean, I know they had penalties, but that game was horrific.
Yeah.
It was not called well tonight at all. I mean, how I don't want to be the guy that complains about the refs, but how is that not a roughing the passer on Mahomes and a late hit twice? That's 30 yards our way that didn't get called.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I thought the offense played pretty good. I mean, Kelsey, on that drive, they were probably going to go in for a touchdown on that drive. I mean, they were zooming down the field.
Yeah.
No issues. That was the first down on the 35 or the 40. I think that they pretty much took what the Cowboys gave them, and they had zero issues doing what they wanted to do. My issue with the offense is Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid. The play calling was terrible in the second half. That's the problem that I have is I felt like, they ran the ball, they threw the ball, they did all the things they needed to do in the first half, and then in the second half, it's like they got tired of running the ball and they just kind of quit doing it. They quit with the short passes and they I don't know, they just looked out of sync.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if it had to be the play calling because, personally, I think the play calling was just really inconsistent. And, didn't you go for it on fourth down instead of trying to kick that field goal?
Yes.
I would have went for it on
100%. Absolutely.
The defense, I'm done kicking the can down the road on the defense. I think they're really good, and I think they're playing good, and I think L'Jarius Sneed needs to get paid. That kid is an absolute beast. I think he's as good a defensive back as there is in the league.
Yeah.
And then just one more quick point. The holding call on Trey Smith, I get the holding call, but since when is it a 15-yard penalty to look at the ref and say, hey, I didn't see exactly what he did. I didn't see if he did something specific or out of line, but it looks like he was just questioning the call, and they flagged him for it.
Yeah.
It looked like the refs were trying to make the game about them tonight because they just kind of suck.
Yeah.
So,
all right, well, Travis, I'm gonna let you go because I think we might end up getting some pressers here, but I'm gonna address a bunch of those things. Good stuff there. Whoop, that was really loud. Sorry, everybody. A few things, though, from Travis that I think he's 100% right on. I don't like talking about refs either because I think usually it ends up being a scapegoat for another issue, or people blame refs whenever the team has a chance to actually execute. All that stuff can happen. I also don't mind telling you that I think that was a poorly refereed game on a variety of levels across the board, which also I think for the most part, and you can nitpick here, you can say actually the Chiefs got screwed out of 15 extra yards or whatever. More or less, I think it typically kind of comes out in the wash. I think it did tonight, where you could say, man, there's just some penalties that I don't understand, or some missed stuff I don't understand. The refs broke the rules to go back and accurately give the Chiefs 15 back because Rashad Fenton got beheaded on the sideline by a Cowboy. It's those things are frustrating, and so much. This could be a much longer topic. If the Chiefs just put if the NFL just put a ref in the skybox that had an earpiece connection to somebody on the field, everything would go a whole lot smoother. They don't. Play calling is an interesting one. I'm going to come back to that a little bit later. I've written it down to circle back to, because I want to take these two calls here, and then we can take our break and circle back through. So we'll try to get pretty quickly through Dan and Justin. Dan, you're up first. Hit me up, Dan.
Hey, Josh, dominated performance by the Chiefs defense. Chris Jones, 3.5 sacks, 4 tackles. Willie Gay, we just missed that pick 6 early in the first half by Prescott, and that big play by Travis Ward with the interception before the end of the first half. The offense just did just enough. And I agree, Josh. Now, the touchdown on the Clyde Edwards when he pointed, do you think that should have been called? But anyway, great performance to the album. Enjoy this bye week. Happy Thanksgiving, Josh. Take care of yourself.
You too, Dan. Appreciate your call as always. Yeah, that penalty on Clyde was garbage. That is a horrible. Again, I don't like talking about the refs that much. That was miserable. Rashad Fenton shooting like an air gun over towards the opponent's sideline or whatever. Fine, that's gonna get called, I guess. Whatever. I would rather there be no taunting penalties than to have as many as the league currently has. Pointing at a defender as you're crossing the goal line is a miserable place to get flagged for that. Real quick here before we go to a break, let's get our last caller of the segment. Justin, what are your thoughts here on the Chiefs' 19-9 victory?
Great. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate the time. I'm going to choose my time to be positive about the game.
Please.
Especially because, you can always find reasons to be critical of the team. But this was going against not the New York Giants. Yep. This was going against a team, whether they turn out to be or not, are nationally viewed to be a Super Bowl contender in the NFC, and they whooped them tonight.
Yep.
I will say the common denominator to me in the story is obviously the defense, but the common denominator to me with the defense is you have Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, Charvarius Ward, Juan Thornhill. All those guys are either getting healthy and or seeing the field, and then you have Chris Jones playing in a more natural position for him.
Yep.
And it's no mystery as to why the defense is getting better. And just super excited about the team. Like I said, there'll be reasons to be critical of the game, but I think that's for tomorrow and later on in the week. But tonight's a reason to really celebrate the defense. Basically whooping a team, again, that's nationally viewed, whether they are or not, or legitimately supposed to be a Super Bowl team. Thanks, brother.
Appreciate it, Justin. Good call. No notes, no disagreements. So we'll take a quick break so we can get back and bring you some pressers live here next on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Hey guys, it's Grunny here for my friends at CBD American Shaman. Man, I love football and I love big scores. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman stores the day after the game. If Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off all the next day at your local CBD American Shaman store. If they put up 50, you got it, 50% off all the very next day. Now that's a big win. CBD American Shaman. Life is so much better with the feather.
At BOK Financial, we believe that no financial challenge is too big and no opportunity too small. We're guided by our commitment to make a difference in the communities we serve. BOK Financial. We are community focused.
Hey, it's Bob with Culligan Water. Most of you get your water from water treatment plants, but some of you source your water from a well. Your water may have excess levels of bacteria, iron, or even arsenic. The good news is, I can help. Water problems, big or small, I treat them all. Contact me, Bob, at CulliganKansasCity.com/Bob. That's CulliganKansasCity.com/Bob. Let's talk about how to better your water. When you think of better water, think of Bob with Culligan Water.
Golfers, it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the biggest Callaway trade-in event of the year. Starting this Thursday through Sunday, bring in any of your old clubs and receive a 75% trade-in bonus towards new Apex irons and Epic woods. Both the Apex and Epic families are designed with artificial intelligence for faster ball speeds. Go to worldwidegolfshops.com or call the store nearest you to schedule your free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
The Whole Person connects people with disabilities to the resources they need to live independently and enjoy the many opportunities this great city provides. We're focused on creating a fully accessible community where opportunities and choices are not limited by disability. The Whole Person delivers programs and services that enhance the confidence of people with disabilities by providing the skills needed to live, learn, and work in the Kansas City metro. The Whole Person serves both Missouri and Kansas. Learn more by visiting thewholeperson.org. Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today. More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Plus, players have 3 nights a week to play Powerball. Now Monday nights. Every ticket you play creates opportunities for Missouri students. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly.
It's Tim Grunhard, a.k.a. Mr. Truck KC. People are talking about the low inventory of cars in this nation. The best solution is to go see my team at Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC. They have over 60 new and used vehicles ready to go off the lot today. If you're needing a car for the future, go see them and pre-order now so they can guarantee that delivery. Come see why customers say, we just make it easy from sales to service. Check them out online at robertsrobinson.com or view their Roberts Robinson Facebook page.
Just like Kansas City, Audi Shawnee Mission knows how to win. Come in today to see why Audi Shawnee Mission is rated one of the top dealers in the Central region by Audi of America. Stop in at Audi of Shawnee Mission and experience their brand new state-of-the-art facility. It's easy to get to directly off I-35 in Merriam, at the corner of I-35 and 67th Street. Audi of Shawnee Mission is a proud supporter of our hometown team in red. Come see why they are champions too.
Listen up, sporting fans. Central Bank of the Midwest invites you to score a better banking experience with our new sporting checking account. Now you can show off your team spirit at the match or on the go with the official sporting debit card. Plus, you'll gain access to Central Bank's award-winning mobile app with more than 30,000 reviews and a 4.9-star rating. So, score big today by opening your sporting checking account at any of our convenient Central Bank locations or by visiting sportingchecking.com. Member FDIC.
Look at this formation. That's Kelsey in the middle of it. Fakes the handoff and pounds it in for the touchdown.
That Travis Kelce rushing touchdown was a distinct Andy Reid call of the game type of play. It is our call of the game, brought to you by Olathe Subaru. At Subaru of Olathe, let your love give back during the Subaru Share the Love event. Find your new Subaru now at SubaruofOlathe.com. Chris Jones at the podium right now, live from Arrowhead.
Hey, what are we doing? We got to talk to the guys upstairs. Hey, you listen, I love Jared, you know what I mean? But I think I have 4. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. That's a friendly reminder. Like, let's double check. Let's watch the film again. If he earned it, I'm all for giving it to him. But I think I had 4. Either way, you know, I'll sit to 3.5. But we can check the tape again, you know. Let's look at it again and make sure. That's fun, man. Football is fun. Winning is fun. Having the guys playing with those guys up front is fun. The back end played exceptional today. I think the game ball should go to the back end. They played so exceptional that they made the quarterback hold the ball, and we was able to affect the quarterback because he couldn't go to his first read. So the back end played really, really good today.
And I know you embraced the move to the outside. That was something that you wanted, but it seems like a lot of your production still coming on that inside. I mean, I guess do you sort of feel like you're playing too good on the inside to get a ton of snaps on the outside?
Just wherever Spags put me. Spags is he does his thing, man. You know, he moves me around, which I benefit off of it. So the offense just can't slide to me every series, knowing where I'm going to go, and you know, he put me in position to make plays.
Chris, given how the season started, now all of a sudden this last month, this last 4-game stretch, how gratifying is it for y'all as a defense to put this kind of performance against the Cowboys before you go to a bye week?
It's never how you start, man. It's how you finish. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, and you're gonna go through adversity along the way. So you know, we went through a little adversity. We had a lot of guys hurt, and we're finally building the chemistry back on this defense, getting everyone healthy, and being able to play together. You know, I think this is the first time within 4 weeks where we had all our guys healthy and able to mesh and play together. That's a huge part for us as a defense.
It seems like Frank Clark is finally healthy, and you guys have Melvin in the mix. How much do you feel like you guys are feeding off each other as the game goes on?
You know, bringing Melvin in and acquiring Andy Reid this offseason has helped this D-line tremendously. You know, those two proven guys in this league that had success on the other teams, and we was fortunate enough to grab them. Veach did a heck of a job in acquiring those guys, and, you know, they can bring versatility to this defensive line.
Chris, are you leaning more with quickness or are you leaning more with power? What would you say is the reason you were so dominant in the trenches today?
Give it to the back end and the guys around me. The guys around me, Frank Clark started it off with a sack. So they start sliding to Frank Clark and giving me the one-on-ones. And the back end, you watch the back end, how tight they was playing in coverage. Took his first option away, which forces him to hold the ball a second or two longer. And, you know, I was able to make some plays.
This was when you actually picked up a recovery that was different than what happened in Philly. Just what's the experience like when you have the ball in your hands in the middle of the field?
I had a cast on in Philly. Give me a little break, please. Hey, no, if you notice, I actually slowed down, squared up, took the squat, and then picked the ball up. I was trying to take it in. I don't think a big guy has done it in a while. You know, the back end guys, they'll take it in. They're very fast and quick, and I was looking to get a big guy celebration. You know what I mean?
Speaking of celebration, what made you pull out the stomp after the sack?
Full of excitement, having fun. Most importantly, having fun with the guys. You know, that's what it's all about, having fun, making plays, and winning, you know.
Chris, is it sweeter than you did against a top-ranked offense? Because it seems like every week, you know, well, yeah, they did it, but if the Giants aren't good or Packers didn't have their quarterback, does it mean more than you did it against a team that's been doing what they do?
Listen, they're going to talk about us regardless. We can beat the Cowboys. They're going to say the Cowboys is off. They had their top receiver. So every week we got something coming, but it's okay. It's a little adversity. It's good for us. It's a challenge. You know, we listen to everything. We hear it. We still suck, you know. So, you know, we can use that as a building point, continue to build as a defense, as a team, build chemistry, and continue to put points and win.
Chris, you mentioned that you were playing through some torn ligaments in your wrist. Just how, it seems like it's going well, but how is the management plan going for that, and how do you feel when you're out there?
I give all the props to the training staff. Rick Buckholder and his group has been doing an exceptional job in making sure I'm ready to play on Sunday. The practice plan that they have for me, been protecting my wrist and making sure I don't get banged up in practice. So I give all the props to those guys, preparing me mentally and physically and being able to play on Sunday.
Chris, you talked in previous years about maybe winning the SAC title or being Defensive Player of the Year. What's been the goal this year?
Doing whatever I can to help this defense succeed. You know, putting your personal goals aside and being more so of a leader. You know, my personal goal is always to win the SEC title and be the best player I can be for this defense. But most importantly, being the best player I can be for the defense. If you get it.
Chris, I know you always have fun playing football, but
much fun is it right now when you have a stretch like this? The defense is playing so well than say maybe it was 6 weeks ago.
Listen, we knew it was going to mesh together. We had a few rough weeks. A lot of guys injured. We wasn't clicking together. We got a lot of new guys on the defense, offense, both sides of the ball. So it was kind of new for us. Me and Frank didn't play together to probably week 4, week 5. You know what I mean? So you take everything into consideration, and we were still able to compete. We were still competing at a high level and coming down to the last possession of games. So to have everyone back, to continue to build that chemistry, and I think it's a huge part of success for us right now.
Chris, I wonder how close you were to knowing him. Tyron, I guess, was not close to playing. He played, right? He had this knee swell up. Were you aware of that before the game, and what kind of message does that send to the rest of you guys that he gutted it out and played today?
Yeah, I found out during walkout. The defense was walking out, and it was like, "You're walking last." I'm like, "No, I'm not." And then, T5, he's the guy that goes last, and it was like, "Yeah, Tyron is questionable." I was like, "What's wrong?" And then they told me. So the warrior T5 is. I knew he was going to have to play. He's such a warrior, and then he wasn't going to miss this game. That's one thing I know about T5. He's a competitor at the highest level. He loves to compete. He loves, especially these type of games and these situations. T5 want to be on the field, and I knew it was a high probability. He was going to try to play. He was going to play. He wasn't going to sit it out.
Did you meet for the starting lineup there?
Yeah, for the starting lineup because he didn't go out, and it caught me off guard. So I kind of knew then that was a problem. But first play, he was out there. So that's just the willpower of T5. He's probably battling something right now, and in his mind, he blocks it out and still being able to compete for this defense.
Last one there.
Chris, leading the next 4 games at home, the next 3 games against division rivals, going into the bye week, what did the coach say to you all as one of the leaders on the team? Seeing what's happening with one of the particular team in the division, what's your message to your teammates to these next couple of weeks, get rest, get healthy, stay out of trouble, don't do things that you would advise them not to do?
I think more so take advantage of this time off, watch a little film, take a break also, but also stay engaged, watch who you're with, make sure you don't put yourself or the team in a bad situation, and if you're going through something, make sure you're taking this time to get healthy, most importantly. All right, guys, y'all take care.
Here's Chris Jones, a fabulous game here tonight. He would like to see 4 sacks next to his name. He would like to review the tape and see if Jaron Reed actually earned his half of the sack that he was ultimately credited with. We'll have to see if there's a stat correction issued there at any point. I wonder if we will hear from more members of the Chiefs defense here tonight. Clyde Edwards-Helaire will talk next, which makes sense. His return. Let's go to the Chiefs running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, live from Arrowhead.
And that great. And then just with the MCL, just kind of being the MCL, being that vascular kind of, at one point it just kind of continuously got better each and every day. From dry needling to cupping to massages to, you name it, I probably did it for the knee. So, and then just with the MCL, everybody knows MCLs connect to the hamstring, ended up having like a couple hamstring problems. So it's not just one thing I was dealing with. It was like multiple things throughout the 5 weeks.
When you went down, it seemed like you thought that injury was pretty serious. And did you fear the worst at that point?
I would say I'm more on the flexible end, and I didn't been in some bad tie-ups, and a lot of people probably wouldn't be standing here if they was in the same things that I was. So it's initially just kind of feeling it. I knew it wasn't the best, and who wants to be hurt when this is literally what I do every day, Monday through Sunday, bro. So it wasn't, it's not just I'm done for the time. It's, well, damn, I do this every day and I can't do it anymore. So I'm frustrated, and that's just what it was.
You missed obviously 5 straight games. How would you evaluate your performance tonight? Did you feel any rust, or were you able just to slide right in?
Nah, felt good, bro. Felt good. Felt like y'all watched the game, and I was in the game, but as far as being in the game and being in my helmet, I felt good.
I'm pretty sure you were surprised to get the taunting penalty, but you can't point, right?
Obviously.
Take us through that, and then coming back over the sideline and dealing with Coach Bieniemy?
I mean, nothing to really talk through. It was Pat pitched it. Showing my personality. That's what we talk about, being me, playing football, man. And that's just what it is. You get the taunting penalty. It's 15 yards. Take it with a grain of salt at the time. Go to the next play. Buck, kicks a 48-yard field goal, extra point, and we make it happen. It's on to the next play. And then, thing on the sideline is EB. I mean, it's just one of those things. You got to be a real strong-minded player to play for EB, and a lot of people wouldn't be able to. So, I mean, I just went to the sideline knowing that I was going to hear him. Kind of been playing for him, so I know. And then, here comes TK, and here comes the offense right behind me. So it's more than just, the things that y'all see. It's a brotherhood. It's, me and EB going back and forth one-on-one. It's, I could buy EB a pair of shoes, and then we arguing about the color. And, literally, that's the things that go on, throughout the week. And it's a relationship, and everybody, sees one thing, but, it's one thing when it's just us. And just the crowd being there it's kind of the crowd, but once we're on that field, man, it's kind of like a family-oriented thing. So that's why I ended up being yelling, mosh pit, laughing. So it was pretty cool.
This is the second time in your career where it seemed like you were really hitting your stride, and then you suffered the injury. I was just wondering how you pushed through maybe some of the mental frustration of this is happening to me again. How do I kind of get through this?
It's hard. It's being a young player, man, and really, I just vividly remember telling my brother, I'm like, every time I hit my stride, bro, it just seemed like, something happening. And, then you got, media saying whatever. And then it's kind of just like, bro, you're in a position that you're supposed to be in. And then, just whatever happens on the field, it happens. You can't sit there and dwell on it. Now, at the time, everybody's going to tell you, oh, man, you can't be mad or, do this and do that. But I mean, yeah, you're frustrated, you're mad, you want to play ball. Like I was telling them, I'm like, man, I do this 7 days a week. I go to the facility every day. And then when somebody tells you that you can't go do that, it's frustrating. But you have to figure out another way to try to, get that fix. So now it was, okay, I can't do that, so I need to try to figure out, go deeper in film. Mental reps as far as watching practice. I need to, mentally trick myself as far as tell my body that I'm doing it when I'm really not. And that's what makes you a pro. That's what sets me, I feel like that's what sets me apart from the next person. Everybody can't say they put as much work as I did when I was hurt, comparable to the next person. And everybody can speak for themselves, but, I'm me, and that's just what it is.
It was your brother that you talked to?
Yeah, my older brother.
Saw some of the tweets that you sent out, kind of going back and forth with Darryl, especially after his catch last week. What's kind of that brotherhood like in that relationship, especially when you were down and he was up, kind of going back and forth?
Man, it's, just to say it's a brotherhood is just kind of like just like that icing word. Literally, dirt is one of the, probably one of the reasons why I'm standing in this position. And just even when I got to LSU, just understanding defenses, understanding just little things on the field, off the field, learning stuff back in Louisiana. So it's not just, oh, I'm with him. He's my, that's my boy, and he makes things work for me, and he makes everything easy. It's, he's pretty much since it was time to really make things work. He's since college, man. Since freshman year of college, first day, walked in, he took me under his wing, and that's just what it was. And when I got drafted here, man, I was like, it's a blessing in disguise. Just knowing that it's gonna be those times that, unfortunately, that I was hurt. You're gonna have guys like Dirk calling you, making sure you're doing the right thing off the field, making sure you're doing the right thing when it's, we were at practice and it's, what you did, when we were at practice and how did you get it done? And it might not be exactly like a coach. It's, it's more like an older brother, and that's just what it was. And our relationship is, a lot different from what I would say. People see tweets and everything, but literally, man, it's, from the time that I was scholarship check, not touching in college, he was making ends meet, bro. So it's different with me and Dirty.
Like, when you know that you were going to be playing today and good to go, and as good as you looked, was there any thought process? Well, you got the bye week, a whole week to recover, to just wait until after the bye week to come back?
Yeah, that was pretty much the whole week. And when you start telling the competitor, hey, man, you've been on the field, you look good. Oh, man, you did that move, you look good. And then that person starts to feel good at practice, and he's getting starting reps and rolling. It's kind of hard to tell him, that hey, you're not playing at all. You're just going to have to wait till after the bye week. Coach Reid doesn't roll like that. And, if you're going to go out and practice, you're either going to practice full or you're going to go in and do rehab. And it's as simple as that.
Thanks, bud.
Bam. Appreciate y'all.
That's some interesting stuff from Clyde. The Darrell Williams stuff, really good, obviously. I don't have anything I have to break down there. The thing at the end, though, is interesting because I kind of thought, hey, would it make sense to just let Clyde have another week to just rest and not have to worry about that knee too much? But like he said there, you're either practicing or you're rehabbing. There's not just a stay home for a week option or whatever when you're coming back from an injury. And also, if you're a player that's been rehabbing, you're rehabbing to get back onto the field. So just something, honestly, I just hadn't really thought about, hadn't really considered kind of that part of the psychology of managing injuries and managing players that way. That's just pretty interesting stuff. And again, also, man, I don't say this from any sort of pedestal whatsoever. I think there's always stuff like that we don't think of, that a guy like Andy Reid, who's been around players and has been coaching for decades now, knows that is a part of both what he does as a coach and also what players in general want and need. And that's just an interesting tidbit there where Clyde comes in, gets a good amount of work. Now he'll have the bye week. They'll all have the bye week to rest and rehab and everything. That's good stuff there. We'll hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in a little while, but for now, that's our locker room report here on Sports Radio 810.
The Chiefs Locker Room Report is brought to you by Twin Peaks. No one does football like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, they have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu, second to none. And don't forget about their 29-degree man-sized drafts at Twin Peaks.
I want to take a couple calls, then we'll take another break. We'll get to Matt Derrick at some point. Again, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes later in the show. Eventually, we will we'll cover a lot of bases. We'll take more calls and comments and everything as well. Oh, also, I should have mentioned this at the top, but if you want to get in touch with the show a different way, the best way you could do it is any of the places we've got our video stream up and rolling, so you can watch the show and, of course, also listen. But you can watch the show on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook, Twitter, not Twitter, we're working on it, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube channels. Go to any of those places, whatever's easiest for you. Just search for Sports Radio 810, Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. You'll find us as we are live right now. And I forgot to do this earlier in the show, so I apologize to everyone who brought the heat in the first 45 minutes or whatever. But I've got the comments up now on the computer over here, so may even be able to take some questions and comments through the comment section if you get in touch that way. Otherwise, good old-fashioned way over the phone or on Twitter. I'm at JB Brisco there. You can send things any number of ways. But let's take a couple calls here before we take another timeout. And we'll start with Cruz. Cruz, what's on your mind?
Oh, hey, Josh. Thanks for taking my call. Well, this is sort of a long callback now because it's been so long. But Gary calling in and being positive, I just have to give props.
2 weeks in a row. I don't even know him anymore.
I kind of don't like it, if I can say that. It's strange. But anyway, props to Gary for sure. It's not it looks well on him is what I'm saying.
Yes.
And just real quick about the game. So it's amazing how, when Clark and Jones are actually healthy, like how good our defense can be. Our defense was on fire tonight. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It was so good. It's just incredible, like how those two particular guys, once they're 100%, or, they're not 100, but, 90% or whatever they are, how good our defense can look, and they basically saved our game. And that kind of goes into the offense. I'm not worried about it, only because we have Patrick Mahomes. I think he'll be fine. We could be looking a lot better, but I think we're going to be okay, especially after this bye week. He'll get some turkey in him. He'll be fine. He's going to be totally fine. And then just finally, Josh, so I think it was on, and I'm going to be the guy that always brings up your Times Hours podcast, so
that's all right.
I hope that's okay. I love it.
Thank you.
You guys, I think we're talking, I think there was a question about, like, hey, who's actually calling these plays? Is it Andy? Is it EB? And I can't remember who said it. I think it was Nate that said, I'm pretty sure it's Andy. And I agree, but I think I did see at the end or halfway through the third quarter, EB was definitely calling some plays. So I wonder if they're just splitting up the time.
Yeah.
And while, I don't know that matters for us as fans, I just think it's fascinating to know or to find out somehow. But anyway, love the win tonight. I would love for you to, talk about the play calls. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for listening, Cruz, to all the shows. Appreciate you calling in as well. First of all, most importantly, again, I'm positive Gary is really weird, but a great time, So I'm all about positive Gary being in our lives. I think it's a really good sign that we as a world are really, really getting back on our feet. In terms of the play calling, I promise I'm not trying to be diplomatic or like to dodge anything. I don't know. I've asked both the guys on Times Ours. I've asked this to Matt Derrick. I'll ask Matt Derrick again later tonight and see if there's any kind of developing feel of that. And if anyone right now is listening and saying, well, could you just ask Andy Reid or Eric Bieniemy about that? It has been something that has been held behind a little bit of a veil for as long as I can remember. I think part of the reason for that is that whenever one person is like, all caps, the play caller, blame and credit gets funneled to that person. And whenever you ask Andy Reid about game plan stuff, about the offense in general, he's not just even talking about himself, certainly, or just him and Eric Bieniemy, but it's him and Bieniemy and Mahomes and Mike Kafka and Joe Blameyer and Greg Lewis. I mean, like he'll get into the assistant coach. Andy Heck did a great job. Like all of those guys. I certainly don't know the inner workings, and I don't know. I imagine that Mike Kafka has a greater hands-on role in developing the game plan than Tom Melvin, the tight ends coach, does. I'm guessing, but the thing they always seem to circle back to is the team effort aspect of it. That it really is a collective deal. And so I think that's probably the reason that's always a little bit fuzzy. And I think Andy Reid wants Eric Bieniemy to get a head coaching job someday. And so if you're in a slow stretch, everyone goes, oh, well, this is whenever Eric Bieniemy is calling the plays. And if Andy Reid says, I'm taking play calling duties, and then and then the offense gets right again, then everyone goes, oh, man, well, Eric Bieniemy, didn't you know what he was doing calling the plays in this game? Or the inverse happens, and Bieniemy is calling the plays the whole time, and the Chiefs are cruising, and then Andy Reid decides, hey, this game I want to call the majority of the plays or whatever. I do think that the safest bet is for there to be a split of the duties throughout the process. And the one thing that I really also, and again, I'm just admitting the things I don't know here because I just think this could be any number of factors at play. But I don't know why Andy Reid would have better plays to choose from than Eric Bieniemy would, if that makes sense. Like, theoretically, they're working off of the same pool of plays. And maybe, I don't know, man, I'm now in full conspiracy theory, but like maybe Andy Reid is more willing to burn like the double secret plays of, the Travis Kelce rushing touchdown. I think that was on first down too, wasn't it? So you know what, we'll burn it here because I want to score and not worry about it. And maybe if Bieniemy's calling the play, he wants to try to win a little more straight up and save some tricky stuff for a more high leverage situation. That is a total speculative, just like more as an example of all the different things that could be going on here that I don't even know. But I would think that for the most part, everything's kind of coming from a similar place. I mean, there was the play last week where Mahomes said, he called for that play. Wasp in the Super Bowl was Mahomes asking for a play to Eric Bieniemy, who then talked to Andy Reid about it. There is a chain of command and a chain of communication there. And I guess if I was going to give a take while not having all the information, which is both dangerous and has never stopped me before, I think I would say that who is making the calls on a play-by-play basis is probably significantly less important than who is building the plays over the course of the week and the year and the offseason and the decades. I think if you gave Andy Reid's play designs to a fundamentally average play caller, that offense would do better than an average play designer in the hands of Andy Reid. I think, if that makes sense. If we're doing ingredients versus who's cooking it or whatever. I think the ingredients the Chiefs play caller, whoever it is, or whoever they are, I think the ingredients they're starting with there are so top shelf that as long as you have some idea of what you're doing, you're going to get pretty good results. And so then you can say, Josh, but didn't the offense struggle for a while in there? What are you saying? I'm wondering if at some point in there what they were designing up simply wasn't working. There were execution issues, but maybe they also had some things that they thought were going to work better on paper, better in their head than it actually worked against whatever they were seeing. I'm kind of in spitballing, thinking out loud territory here, much more so than like trying to telepathically influence you, the listener, of some fundamental truth that I found out at the facilities this week. I'm spitballing on that, but I think it's a very interesting part of this team's story that we are going to have an incredibly difficult time getting the specifics of, but we should keep trying for that. So maybe that's something that after the bye we can dig back in on a little bit. Let's go to Butch up next. Butch, glad to see you on the phone board. You weren't here in the first segment. I started getting worried.
Gentlemen, how about those Chiefs?
How about them?
You know I was going to come in here and run my mouth after a win. Yeah, for sure. You can't escape me today. Man, JB, let me tell you. All right, the word for the day was emotion. I was emotional. Tyrann Mathieu, I didn't think we'd play this game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. We started off the day wrong. Man, what a warrior. I think they went back and said, hey, you got the bye week tomorrow. How much Toradol can we injection you to get you to get on the field or something to that extent, and it worked out. I think he even had an above-average game. Once they were able to get that worked out. I'll say this much. I don't know how many last time I checked the rushing yards on the Chiefs, were somewhere around 114. They could have double that in this game because they proved that against a lighter front. I mean, their guys are like 305 and less on that defensive front. They can just mash them. They can run through them.
Yeah.
They had a couple of horrendous holding calls, man.
Yeah.
I think that was the only reason why they didn't go for it more. It's tough to see interjection that was kind of iffy in that game from the officiating. You know me, I don't usually talk about it, but, man, I think it messed up the flow of the game.
Yeah.
Either way, let's get to – you've already heard the superlatives about the defense. You know what this is more a function of when I see a game like this? This is more of a function of the Chiefs saying, you know what, we're not going to panic. And that's where a lot of other teams are right now, in my opinion, that the Chiefs aren't. Other teams are ready to panic. They're ready to fold up. Vegas doesn't have an answer. I don't think the Bills are going to panic because they're ran by a dang-on drill sergeant out there in Sean McDermott. But I think another loss or two, you'll start to see them start trying to do things that they're not used to doing. We've talked about the Chiefs before the beginning of the season being the deepest roster they've ever had. I still believe it. I look out there, I said, yeah, I can see it sometimes. And sometimes that may include needing to win a game 23-10, 19-9, right?
Yeah.
It's not always going to be fireworks. So this is going to pay off for them in the long term. I also want to give a game ball not only to L'Jarius, not only to Chris Jones, not only to Frank Clark. Man, I kind of want to give a game ball to my guy Jarran Reed. This is 2 games in a row. Where his interior pressure on great guards in this game.
Yes.
Connor McGovern and Zach Martin is probably the best player on offensive line all NFL. And they both ate. Man, I'm telling you, we can win. It's not just winning the way we saw in the previous years. You know what's going to happen now? We can win any way we want.
Thank you, Butch. The evil laugh is you want to talk about being able to win in new ways. Butch having an evil laugh on the way out is a power move. I agree with, I think, pretty much all of that from Butch. I saw also a couple of things from the Twitch feed, twitch.tv/sportsradio810. Lenexa said EB was calling stuff and most of them were fails. One thing that I should have mentioned there is that I remember distinctively, I don't remember how long ago, it's been a minute, but at least at some point the play calling strategy was that Andy Reid would call plays to Eric Bieniemy, and then Eric Bieniemy would then send them in to the quarterback. In this case, it's obviously Mahomes. I think that might have even been a thing that started with like Doug Peterson or maybe with Matt Nagy and Alex Smith. Again, I do not know that is what's happening here. I don't know if that's a thing they've continued. I remember talking about it because it seemed like there were occasionally those times where the play clock was already at 15 by the time they were getting that play actually called in the huddle. So I remember that being a source of some contention to say, hey, what is the point of going one step to another like this? I do not know who is in Patrick Mahomes' ear most of the time. I don't know who's making the initial call most of the time. But seeing that evolve, I do think is going to be pretty interesting. And then from Wildcat Tad on Twitch, what will it take for Andy to run the ball a bit more and pass the ball to running backs? Really slows down the pass rush and eats the clock. That option call in the fourth quarter might be Andy's worst play call ever against Parsons, the most athletic player that faced it in college for 4 years against a quarterback that's not running it. There. Yeah, I think that some of that is fair. I do think that, we've seen multiple times there are many more than one way. There's many more than one way to keep the clock moving and to keep the chains moving to put a game away. I thought the Chiefs, I guess it ended up being their second to last drive, but their last drive with the ball in their hand, I thought they did a pretty good job of also finding a lot of those times where you could keep the clock moving with a short pass and actually move the chains instead of just running it 3 times for 3 total yards and then having to punt it back. And you can say, oh, we made them use their timeouts or whatever. There's more than one way to, what was the different version of that phrase, Beards? More than one way to skin a potato, I think is probably what it was. There's some very good or alternate versions of famous idioms. It's where we got the great phrase, don't want to feed a fed horse. I'm not going to explain all of that in a post-game show. I'm not going to go back to the origins either. It just makes me laugh every time. There's more than one way to skin a potato, because skinning a cat's horrifying to think about. Don't do that.
What about a tomato?
Yeah, tomato, potato. But with that being said, they were running the ball pretty effectively in times for tonight. I don't know, and maybe this would change on a rewatch, and maybe I was swept up in the first half still. I didn't feel like the offense was refusing to take some of the easier stuff, which was more of a contention earlier in the year. Say, hey, run the ball. This is what the defense is showing you. It just felt like at times what they were doing was almost there and then didn't quite fully click into place. But that could be the result of a lot of things, including like, hey, maybe make them defend the run a couple more times and then see if that opens something up. I'm open to that idea. I'm just not 100% sure that that's where everything boiled down here today. But it's a lot of unanswered questions remain on the offense. Again, I feel pretty good about them in general because we saw in the first half what we saw against the Raiders, which is that gear is still there. The question will be, is that gear going to be there consistently? And that's going to be proven not next week, but in the weeks to follow, because they get a bye, which will be good for everybody, from Clyde in his first game back from the knee to Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, who have been beaten up all year, to the right tackle position. Lucas Niang and Mike Rimmers get another free week off, and hopefully both of them are back the week after. It's a good time for a bye and a good time to feel good about the Chiefs, as the AFC is standing on very shaky ground. The Chiefs appear to be regaining their footing. We'll talk about it some more whenever we come back from the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Play more, I got it backwards. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. That's with the Missouri Lottery. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Our team's score is your % off. They scored 19 points, so you get 19% off all day tomorrow. CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
You are listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power Powerball. Now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Get Upside Gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
bucks. Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code BILL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code BILL for up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. That's code BILL.
Take your adventure to the next level with a new Kia from Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia. Go off-roading in a rugged new 2022 Kia Sorento. Pack up for a road trip in a spacious new Sportage, or write your next chapter in a well-appointed new Kia Telluride. All new Kias are backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Your journey starts at Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia, just a short drive from I-35. Check out OlatheKia.com for exclusive special offers. Warranty is limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hi, I'm Fred Ramsey. And I'm Mark Tobin. Hey, folks, if you're not busy Saturday mornings from 6 to 7 a.m., well, I hope you'll join us for the Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet St. Joe.
Join us and our expert guests, and we'll be talking about hunting and fishing, dog training. We'll give you tips, pass along stories, and most important, share some laughs along the way.
That's right. We cover it all, from crappie to waterfowl, and we'll tell you how to cook it, too.
The Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Preps KC is the ultimate high school football coverage in the Kansas City area. The best articles, podcasts, live scores, stats, video highlights. Log on to PrepsKC.com or the Preps KC app. This year we are thrilled to have our 2-hour weekly radio show, Preps KC's Football Friday Night, airing each Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 and 1510 a.m. It's the most comprehensive high school football radio show in the Midwest. So remember, from Fridays from 4 to 6 p.m. on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 and 1510 a.m.
At Subaru of Olathe, let your love give back. When you buy or lease a new Subaru during the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru will donate $250 to your choice of these 4 national charities: ASPCA, Make-A-Wish, Meals on Wheels, or the National Parks Foundation. Plus, Subaru of Olathe will donate an additional $50 with every new Subaru sold or leased to these hometown charities: the Boys and Girls Club of Olathe and the American Cancer Society. So drive home a new Subaru now from Subaru of Olathe during the Subaru Share the Love event. Shop your way online anytime at SubaruofOlathe.com. New Subarus must be sold or leased from November 18th to January 3rd. See dealer for details.
Looking for a job or career change? Let Sports Radio 810 help you out with the 810 Job Connections program. Go to the community page at 810WHB.com and check out the list of partners that are hiring. Is your business wanting to hire? Email Sandy Cohen at scohen@unionbroadcasting.com to see how you can be a part of the 810 Job Connections program. See job opportunities from great companies like Ball's Food Stores, Ruan Transportation, Red Door Wood-Fired Grill, and Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Go to 810WHB.com/community.
Sharewaves and the Third and Long Foundation present An Evening with Legends. In these unprecedented times, Kansas City area kids desperately need our help to reconnect with normal life. On December 7th, join former NFL All-Pros Tim Grunhard, Neil Smith, and Paul Kaufman at the historic Uptown Theater. Sharewaves and Third and Long are coming together to support the underserved youth in our city. Individual tickets and sponsorships are available now at legendskc.info. An Evening with Legends, December 7th at the Uptown, powered by Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Now's the time to establish and or maintain a barrier around your home with Augustine Exterminators. Don't let it break down. At Augustine Exterminators, they have you covered. Augustine Exterminators is a family-owned local business since 1966. All of their techs are certified in both Missouri and Kansas. They are a Quality Pro and Green Pro company. Augustine Exterminators also does carpet, rug, air duct, and tile cleaning. They have an excellent referral program as well. Refer a new customer, and you both get $25 off your next service. That's right. Refer a friend, and you both get $25 off. Shop and buy local with Augustine Exterminators. Call Augustine Exterminators today at 913-359-8627 or go online at AugustineExterminators.com. That's online at AugustineExterminators.com or give them a call, 913-359-8627.
Join Union Broadcasting in thanking local companies that care. Union Broadcasting salutes CBD American Shaman for their support of the Derek Thomas and Neil Smith Third and Long Foundation, sacking illiteracy among urban youth. Through social, cultural, and educational activities, the Third and Long Foundation helps participating children in school and beyond. You can also help by donating at thirdandlong.org. Thank you, CBD American Shaman, for being a company that cares.
This is Tammy Romstad, the District Athletic Director for the Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools and proud Kansas Cityan. As someone who has spent 30 years in sports at the high school, community college, NCAA Division I, and international levels, I can absolutely say that sports provides opportunities that will open doors for a lifetime. The future of Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools football has been boosted by the generous equipment donations of the D. Pasquale Moore Law Firm. Thank you to Mike and the entire staff for being a company that cares.
Diamonds Direct has enough diamonds right now to supply up to 30 ordinary jewelry stores. From a half carat to 10 carats. Rare, precious diamonds in all shapes, straight from the world's best diamond cutters. At Diamonds Direct, diamonds are our business, our specialty, our focus. That's why we can guarantee the best diamond selection and the best diamond prices every day, every week, every year. Diamonds Direct. Get store hours, directions, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Preps KC is the ultimate high school football coverage in the Kansas City area. The best articles, podcasts, live scores, stats, video highlights. Log on to PrepsKC.com or the Preps KC app. This year we are thrilled to have our 2-hour weekly radio show, Preps KC's Football Friday Night, airing each Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 and 1510 a.m. It's the most comprehensive high school football radio show in the Midwest. So remember, from Fridays from 4 to 6 p.m. on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 and 1510 a.m.
WHB Kansas City.
Cowboys hurry it up. 10-point game. Prescott, that pass was tipped. Snead with the game-ending interception. And the Cowboys will be held out of the end zone here in Kansas City. And big number 95, who has 3.5 sacks in the game, gets his hands up, tips it, and Snead has his second pick of the season.
That play right there was the cherry on top of an excellent day from both players who got their hands on the ball there. Chris Jones with the tip, L'Jarius Sneed with the pick, capping off 2 superb games from both of those guys. And it is clearly, with a cherry on top and everything, I did that on purpose, our sweet play of the game brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. It's pie season at Andy's. Be sure to try their famous pumpkin pie concrete or apple pie sundae this fall. It's a perfect post-game stop or anytime stop at Andy's Frozen Custard. I have become a big fan of the pumpkin pie concrete. I had some more of it a couple of nights ago because I had a little bit left over that made it home into the freezer. It's excellent. If you like pumpkin pie anything, try that. Also, try enjoying the Chiefs' defense as they kept the Cowboys out of the end zone today. A superb performance there. We will hear from Andy Reid in mere moments. We will have to take another quick timeout shortly, and then we'll come back with Andy Reid. Should have Patrick Mahomes shortly thereafter, Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. And are you checking now on our Mike McCarthy audio? Is that a work in progress now, or do you have to run around to do all of that?
I'm trying to isolate it right now in this giant, big old raw file. I'll let you know.
Sounds good. Because we might bring you that. Also, later tonight, we will bring you at least the fourth quarter is my current goal. We'll see where we end up. I'm not going to gas bag as hard as I possibly could because I could literally be here till 6 a.m. I've done it before. It was after a Super Bowl, but I've done it. I will not gas bag until 6 a.m. because right now Chargers and Steelers is on Sunday Night Football. Obviously, it's super relevant to the Chiefs on both sides of that coin. I'm not 100% sure really who you should be rooting for here. I guess you probably root for the Steelers because the Chargers with a loss here would drop to 5-5, which seems crazy. And also, obviously, the Chargers have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs right now. If the Chiefs beat the Chargers later this year, then obviously that tiebreaker will neutralize and they'll go to the other tiebreakers like conference record and everything, and I do not know the math on that. With the Steelers, however, being at 5-3-1 up against the Chargers 5-4 because the Steelers tied with the Lions in one of the most and one of the most games of football I've ever seen. I'm not using any other word, just one of the most. It was the most football. But with that being said, if the Steelers win this game and rise to 6-3-1, the Chiefs are going to have to worry about them eventually, but also they get to play them. And so you don't really worry about teams that you can get the tiebreaker back from, which is what the Chiefs will have the opportunity to do later in the year. They can send a loss the Steelers' way and get that tiebreaker if they're still neck and neck at that point. So they can cross that bridge when they get there, probably for the best if Pittsburgh is able to take this victory, as they're in the red zone right now. In fact, 1st and goal for Pittsburgh as they're down by 4. And going up against the Los Angeles Chargers, who struck first, up 7-3. The Chargers are going to score, the Steelers are probably going to score here. They got very, very close. But we'll keep an eye on that. Also, real quick, I'll do this, and then we'll take a break, and we'll come back with Andy Reid and then Patrick Mahomes shortly thereafter. A quick whip around the AFC here. The Colts blew out the Bills, who their last 3 games have included this blowout loss to the Colts, a win over the Jets in blowout fashion as well, to be fair, and a loss to the Jaguars. So the Bills, who absolutely embarrassed the Chiefs in primetime, not looking ready for primetime right now. I don't know what to tell you about that one. And also the Colts are 6-5, and the Bills are 6-4. When did the Colts get 6 wins?
I was told that the Bills were invincible and they were going to the Super Bowl and winning it invincibly.
As beautifully said as that was, can you believe that Carson Wentz's football team has 6 wins? They're going to end this season, 9-8,
I mean, that's only because they have the MVP on their team, and it's not Carson Wentz as a running back. Running backs are MVPs.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor, 35 carries, 185 yards, 4 touchdowns rushing, and another one receiving. It's a good game. It's a good. You shouldn't draft running backs that high. That's a good game from Jonathan Taylor. I can have both of those angles. The Ravens would have been nice for the Chiefs if the Ravens would have lost this one. They did not, though. They got by the Bears right at the end in a battle of backup quarterbacks. The Ravens reigned supreme. Justin Fields left that game with an injury early on, but 16-13. So the Ravens are now 7-3. The Browns got a narrow win over the Lions, 13-10. I'm not really worried about Cleveland at this point. But the big one in the AFC today, the Titans fall to the Texans, 22-13 in a game that wasn't really that close. And entering today, and maybe still on the standings right now, actually, the number 1 team in the AFC, the number 1 seed if the playoffs were to start today, and the lowest seed in the AFC would be 16 if we were doing a March Madness bracket. The 16 seed beat the 1 seed today, basically. That is ridiculous. And the Steelers did not get any closer. I told you they were probably going to score because they got down to the 2-yard line on 2nd and goal. I didn't see exactly what happened, but I did just see a play go very badly on 4th and goal, and the Steelers have been held out of the end zone here. Not sure what's happening there with the Steelers offense, but it really sputtered there at the end. The right call to keep pushing there on 4th and goal, but that play was very strange to see, even on just the replay. So we'll keep an eye on that game and try to bring you that game live. A good chunk of the second half, at least the 4th quarter. We'll cover a whole bunch of it here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. But first, a quick timeout, and we'll hear from Andy Reid on the other side of this break here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's presented by CBD American Shaman, free CBD samples every day.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL, Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Brought to you by Casey's own CBD American Shaman. Come on into your local shaman store for a free sample of stress-sacking CBD. Everything is better with the feather.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One with a preview of NFC action when the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the New York Giants. Tom Brady and the Bucs are on a 2-game losing skid. Now they face Daniel Jones and the Giants coming off their bye week in hopes of fielding a healthy and rested squad. Tony Baselli joins me for the call on Monday Night Football.
Kansas City's home for the National Football League, Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Ready to share your helpful smile? Your KC Metro Hy-Vee is looking for you. They're now hiring for full-time and part-time positions at all locations with great starting pay and perks. Visit Hy-Vee.com and click Careers to start your next career adventure. That's Hy-Vee.com and click Careers. Hy-Vee's employees act like they own the store because they do. Hy-Vee is employee-owned. So join the Hy-Vee team today by going to Hy-Vee.com and click Careers. Hy-Vee, more than just a grocery store.
Friday Night Lights, college game days, and of course Red Sundays. They're here, and nothing goes better with football than Joe's Kansas City Barbecue. Joe's Championship Barbecue is perfect for your tailgate or your house party. Joe's smoked brisket, pulled pork, turkey, and ham, they're all available by the pound. And team them up with their great sides. It makes for a game-winning meal. Order online at joeskc.com. Order on the app or visit one of their 3 KC Metro locations in Olathe, Leawood, or the original in the gas station in KCK.
More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Plus, players have 3 nights a week to play Powerball. Now Monday nights. Every ticket you play creates opportunities for Missouri students. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly.
Hello, this is Cameron Smith, the head coach of the Washington Wildcats and a proud Kansas Citian. The game of football paved the way to a better education and life for me and for so many others. With the financial help from the DePasquale Moore Law Firm, the future of Washington High School football is looking bright. Thank you to the DePasquale Moore Law Firm for being a company that cares. Whose house? Wash House.
This ad for Hellsberg Diamonds has been specifically written for those who'd rather think about hockey than engagement rings. You're at a game and your team scores the winning goal just as time runs out. Now, if that game is your proposal and you're running out of time to find the perfect engagement ring, Hellsberg Diamonds is your winning shot. Our combination of quality diamonds, wide selection, and a price match guarantee means you can be confident in your Hellsberg Diamonds engagement ring buzzer beater. Visit your local Hellsberg store and ask about our amazing financing options or check us out at hellsberg.com.
Mahomes takes his pick. Touchdown, Edwards-Helaire. Welcome back.
A well-designed, well-executed play, and look, you might hear what I'm about to say next and think, magic. It was, if nothing else, the Mahomes well-executed pitch of the day. It's officially our Mahomes magic moment of the game. He didn't throw for a touchdown pass today, which is remarkable. On their other touchdown, he didn't even touch the ball. It was a direct snap to Travis Kelce. So this becomes our Mahomes magic moment of the day. The most important thing is that it's brought to you by BOK Financial. Whatever you want your company to be, there's BOK Financial. Be ready with BOK Financial. Member FDIC. There were those moments where the offense looked like it was firing on all cylinders. There were also those moments later in the game where you start having some flashbacks to earlier in the year, wondering if they are in fact back, if they are in fact fixed, or if there's still some work to be done there. Let's hear from Chiefs coach Andy Reid right after this.
Andy Reid is presented by Robert Brogdon Buick GMC and Robert Brogdon Olathe Kia. Visit BrogdonAutomotive.com. And by Andy's Frozen Custard. Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy. Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
We'll start with where he started, Andy Reid's opening statement. We'll have an update on both Jerick McKinnon and Rashad Fenton. McKinnon left the game early on, did not return. Fenton left later on. Here's Andy Reid's opening statement after the 19-9 victory.
All right. As far as the injuries go, McKinnon hurt his hamstring, so he came out, and we'll just see. We'll get him an MRI and check out. And then Fenton landed on his knee, and we'll get an MRI on that tomorrow. The crowd was phenomenal. There was a lot of blue in there, and we didn't hear them. And so my hat goes off to the red. That was a beautiful thing. Defensively, what a game. I mean, that's the number one offense in the National Football League, and I just thought our defense brought it every snap against in particular our defensive line, in particular against a heck of an offensive line. So I'm proud of the guys for that. And Frank kind of started off with a strip sack, but 5 takeaways is great. 4 sacks by Chris Jones. I mean, I can't say enough. Charvarius and Snead and Fenton. I mean, 21 jumps in and does a heck of a job. I mean, just all. Willie Gay had a couple nice plays in there. I could probably go through all of them. They all did a nice job. Offensively, we had some ups and downs. Started off right. They had a couple nice drives. And actually, the one that was great was the last drive, where we had to chew some time up, get them to use their timeouts. Even though we didn't score on it, it put them in a big-time bind. And then Tobe had the had the pooch kick, and Bucker did a nice job with it, of getting it down there. And very seldom do you see a punter covering and an offensive guard covering, but we practice it every week, and that's how you practice it right there. They executed it perfect. So good to have 25 back. Clyde played well and just stayed aggressive, covered the ball in traffic, was patient, all the things you need to be to make the thing work. Trusted his O-line. Darrell had another nice game when he filled in both in the pass and the run game. So, and Kelsey, Tyreek, Pat, had some beautiful throws too. So, listen, all in all, it's this is a good football team we played, and that's a heck of a win. Before I turn it over, just happy Thanksgiving to you guys and to our fans. We appreciate everything. So.
As Andy Reid, he's right. He probably could have gone on a lot longer, just rattling off the various players who made plays in this game. And again, as crazy as it is, more of those came on the defensive side. Now, we covered this earlier when we were taking calls. I don't think there's anything wrong with the team being able to win in a variety of different ways. In fact, I think it's a very good thing. It's just strange because that's not who this team has been in recent years. Tyrann Mathieu was a big story in the hour or so leading up to the inactives. He had some swelling in his knee reportedly leading up to the game today. I figured we'd learn a little more from Andy Reid. We did. He was asked about Tyrann Mathieu's status before the game and the extent of his injury.
Yeah, so I should have mentioned that because he played well. He had surgery on that knee at one time, and his knee swelled up overnight, which is a little unusual, but it's done that in the off season. It hadn't done it during the season, but my hat goes off to him letting us know when he got up and getting in here and getting treatment done, and then wanting to play. That's the next thing. I mean, he was in here for hours getting treatment, so. That kid he's an amazing kid, and the fact that he was out there doing what he did was likewise amazing.
Is there much concern? I know he played the whole game tonight. Is there much concern about him going for it?
Well, Rick wouldn't have, and our docs wouldn't have let him play if that was the case, but they felt like he'd be safe playing. I mean, safe as you can be playing football, but and he could still run, so they were able to get some of that swelling out, so that was important.
Before the game, he didn't even go through the introductions. He just came over to the bench, and you went over and had a little chat with him. What was that?
Yeah, just get off your leg and sit there for a little bit, chill out. He went through warm-ups and did everything, and just let him get right. And he's a tough kid, man. My hat goes off to that kid. He is a Badger, right? I mean, tough.
I wonder if he would have played if it was a road game. Is that a weird thing to latch on to? Reid talked about him going in early and getting more treatment and being there for a long time and again going through all the processes that would get him on the field today. I wonder, just on a simple logistical question, if they were on the road, I wonder if that would have cost them Tyrann Mathieu for today. If they would have had a way to get all, maybe they have the full complement of various whatever treatments that would have been. Maybe they have all of that they take with them on the road and everything. But I don't know. Can players get to a road stadium extra early with the training staff and try to get all that in place? Would they have needed something from a road team? I just sort of wondering if this is one of those instances where a home field advantage might have gotten the Chiefs one of their defensive leaders back on the field just because he was able to get there and go through that process. Would it have been different if it was a noon kickoff? I don't know. I genuinely have no idea. I just wonder exactly how close that all really was to being an issue. I mean, to get like you heard the question. I think it was Lebo's question there, asking Andy Reid. Like, he wasn't out there. He didn't run out for introductions. He was just over on the bench. If they're trying to get him, get every step off of his feet that he doesn't have to have, it probably wasn't great. And also, Reid says there, if it would have been something that they'd have concern about going forward, he wouldn't have played today. I buy and believe that. But it does also sound like something that they just need to keep, and certainly will be keeping an eye on, because Reid said that knee swelling overnight, which he said called unusual, so that's happened during the offseason, but never happened in season. So just worth noting to see if that pops up again. Not very good timing today, but obviously he was still able to be out there for the entire deal there. Next thing from Andy Reid, he was asked if this was a statement win altogether for the Kansas City Chiefs.
So you see how every week is like crazy in this league. So I'm not sure there any statement. There's not a lot of consistency going on right now, amongst the NFL here. So I mean, every week is a big time challenge. And I'm talking about wins and losses are consistent. There's these ups and downs, and teams are favored, and then they get beat. I mean, it's crazy. So it's what the league strives for, parity in this league. And I think they've done a great job with that. Every town, every city has an opportunity to win football games. That's a great thing. And we're no different. So we've got to just keep our nose to it and bear down as we go, take each game as it comes. We haven't proven anything yet. You can talk about all of it after the season. Go find an island and go lay around and tell everybody about it. But right now, not so much, man.
So we haven't really proven anything. I guess that's a message to the rest of the league. But maybe it's possible that you all have proven to yourself inside the locker room that it can be ugly, but we can still get wins or go 4 straight going to the bye week here.
Yeah, so I think winning in this league is so hard. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. I think teams are better than they've ever been, and that's why you're seeing what you're seeing. So there's great competition, and you got to work for it every week. And so we're going to enjoy this. We're going to enjoy the win, but we're also going to know that we got to step back on the pedal here and get ourselves ready another week.
That's all very Andy Reid stuff there, although I do like the idea of go get yourself an island in the offseason, go tell everybody about it. That's a pretty good line. Andy Reid also talked about the Chiefs' pass rush and what's different with that unit now compared to what they were doing earlier in the season.
Yeah, so, to get 24 in there, I think is a nice thing, nice addition. He brings a certain energy to the group, a veteran, player. All the guys respected him, welcomed him in. Not that he's playing every snap, but he's playing quite a bit. And, he's strong at the point and does some nice things. But I think it upped everybody's game. That's what I think happened. And guys were back, were healthy there, and that matters when you can line up that lineup that we're doing. And I don't want to slight Jerron Reed. I mean, I've mentioned him before, and he's playing good football right now and just doing a nice job. He's kind of settled into the defense, and we know him better. He knows us better, and he's doing a nice job for us. So. And you watch 55, 95, you watch all these guys do it, 51, 97. I mean, all these guys, 98 to contribute. You just start going through these numbers. 91 is playing good football, Noddy. So my hat goes off to them. They've been working their tail off for it.
Andy, obviously, to open the season, you guys gave Chris the opportunity to play on the edge. He's back on the inside. He's had his best days on the inside. I guess how would you just evaluate that?
Yeah, we mixed him up a little bit today, and but he's done. I mean, I didn't even mention the last play where he tipped the ball. We end up with a nice interception. So it's all. He's good either place. He's a good football player. So I mean, either place. When he gears it up, he's tough to stop.
That's true, and I think everything that Andy Reid sort of went through there in terms of this guy, everyone's playing a little bit better, I think, across that pass rush, and also I think everyone playing better is only good for everyone else around them. That all makes a lot of sense to me. Here's a little back-to-back from Andy Reid. He was asked about the Preston Road Trophy where that's going to be now, as the Chiefs have won it back. Clark Hunt mentioned it earlier in the week, so he was going to try to get Jerry to bring it with him. Not sure if he did or not. So the question about that, and also what he said to Clyde Edwards-Helaire after the taunting penalty on that touchdown you just heard.
Well, it's at Clark's house. Yeah, so that's two different sides of things. But Herbie, yeah, I talked to him. Yeah, and you can't point, you can't do anything. You know, you get excited and you do something. And we had another one on our young right guard, man. So you can't talk, you can't, there's some restrictions now. And if you cross those lines, they're going to get you. And listen, the union was part of that. They agreed to all this. So it's, you'd be better off just going and playing football and celebrate with your teammates and not mess around with the other team.
It stinks, though. Clyde pointed at a defender as he was walking into the touchdown. We can't have that one. I don't know what Trey Smith said, but come on. I'll keep it moving because I could do an entire show about how annoying that is. Beards just made this point that NFL owners can taunt each other with trophies, but players can't taunt each other by pointing. That's a penalty. No fun league. Next up here from Andy Reid, he was asked about the Chiefs tackling, if they're tackling better now, and how difficult it is to improve on that over the course of a season.
Yeah, fundamentally, we're probably playing better. I think the way training camps are now and, the way preseasons are, that whole deal, takes you a little bit of time to kind of get in the swing. So I think you probably see that around the league. And now that they're warmed up and going, I think, it gets better. So, but our guys have worked extremely hard on the fundamentals and as much tackling as you can do here on dummies and so on. Rallying to the ball, I think, helps. Narrowing down running lanes helps, all those things.
Kind of annoyed by how in sync Beards and I are, because I was just about to make a joke about how it's rude to call the offensive players dummies. And Beard said, who's he calling a dummy? And I feel like I couldn't make that joke without acknowledging that I had also thought of it independently, because then Beards would think I was just stealing one of his jokes. Whenever I do that, I want retweets for it. So there's that element of where the Chiefs are at on a fundamental level. What about on an emotional level? Reid was asked about the mood of the team now as compared to earlier in the season, specifically going all the way back to the Chargers game.
Yeah, so they've had to work for this. And I think when you have to really work for something and bear down, I think you enjoy it a little bit more. And you're not resting on what happened before, but you've earned this right here, with the old knot in the stomach and the ups and downs. And, so you earn every one of these. And if I think that's where we're at right now. And then they like each other. They're getting to know each other better, and I think they like each other, and so playing hard for one another.
On that defensive side, by the way, we talked about the pass rush earlier. We heard from Andy Reid on that. The secondary, I really do think, has played some really excellent football since they got their personnel right, really. Andy Reid was asked about what he's seen from specifically that secondary over the last month.
Yeah, it's good to have them back healthy, right? Get all these guys back in there and going. So we were kind of one guy in, one guy out, and that's the whole deal. And then the Badger kind of helps bring it all together with his leadership, and that helps. He felt obligated to be out there and with his guys, and you start getting that type of feeling, and that's a good thing. So, but they've all up their game. They've worked hard at it, Nate.
We've got the pass rush. We've got the secondary. Here's Andy Reid on the improvement of the defense as a whole and what he's seen from them over the course of the season.
Yeah, it's good to have them back healthy, right? Yeah, they're flying around and they're working well together, rallying to the ball, getting great rush. We're doing a good job with our gap responsibility. Linebackers, I haven't mentioned Hitch. His leadership is so valuable. When he's healthy and that leadership, he's in that position, man alive. And now he can eat free when he goes home to Dallas in the offseason.
obviously started his NFL career in Dallas, made a return, well, not a return to there tonight because it was at Arrowhead, but a return to the team, I guess, tonight, and his team and his defense ended up with a victory. Let's go back to the offensive side of the ball. Here's Andy Reid about what it says to him about Patrick Mahomes, the struggles that he had for the first time in his career, and then ultimately leading them to a 7-4 record headed into the bye.
Yeah, listen, he's pushed through the ups and downs, and not that everything was perfect. It's never going to be perfect against a good team. So, but he sure did some nice things, and had some beautiful throws today. And then his leadership is so valuable. He doesn't. There's not a lot of hanging head there. He's going, hey, we're on to the next one. Let's go. So he's a positive influence on a lot of people there.
Well, we'll keep it moving here to the rest of the staff now as well. It's kind of a lot of guys you can point to and give some credit to here. Andy Reid did that today. Asked about what the job his staff has done to turn them around so far this year, and just the importance of his support crew there.
Yeah, the guys never hung their head, the coaches. I mean, they just kept trying to find a way to use the strengths of the players and that they have. Whether somebody was hurt or not hurt, the next guy up, and they utilize the strength of those players to do it. And so, you earn a right to make this one of the bigger games today in the National Football League. I'm saying before the game started, there were a lot of eyes on this game. And so two good football teams playing each other, and this was a little bit of a culmination of their perseverance there. So it's very easy to hang your head. It's tough to power through it. And maybe at times you have to say, you know what, I got to do a little better right here. So.
Last thing from Andy Reid, he was asked what dish he'll be bringing to Thanksgiving. I'm
probably cooking it now. I mean, so I'll be finding a big turkey and we'll do the whole thing. So I'm excited that I can contribute both ways.
Do you mean cooking and eating is the contribution on both sides? That works. Yeah, that seems right. I really thought we might get post-win ahead of a bye week. I really thought we might get Andy Reid to unveil a recipe right there. So yeah, let me talk about my stuffing recipe. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Maybe we can get it after Thanksgiving. Here's what you can get whenever we come back here on Sports Radio 810. You can get Patrick Mahomes' press conference. We'll bring that to you next here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Our team's score is your % off. They scored 19 points, so you get 19% off all day tomorrow. CBD American Shaman, life is better with the feather, and Patrick Mahomes is next.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB, presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC. Right now, they're one of the few dealers in KC that includes a free lifetime powertrain warranty on all new vehicles. Can you imagine driving a truck for over 200,000 miles and having the transmission replaced for free? That's what this lifetime warranty offers and more. Don't go to another dealer that sells you a 3-year, 60,000-mile warranty. Go to Roberts Robinson and get the lifetime warranty. Check them out online at robertsrobinson.com or view their Roberts Robinson Facebook page. See dealer for details.
Hear exclusive Chiefs coverage every week from the best in the business. Only on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Trent Green, Adam Schefter, Tim Grunhard, Adam Teicher, Matt Derrick, Adam Kaplan, Chef Shadia, Nick Leckie, Gary Barnett, Sam Mellinger, Bill Moss, Mark Bowrichter, Stan Weber, Sam McDowell, Seth Kaiser, Blair Kirchhoff, Kevin Harlan, Field Yates, Jesse Newell, Cynthia Freeland, and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Join the program at Hen House on Monday, November 22nd. Seren Petrol will be broadcasting live from 2 to 6 at the Hen House off 119th and Row in Leawood. Come home to a Hen House holiday. Check out these great specials available at Hen House, your local neighborhood market. Fresh oven-ready hen or tom turkeys. Assorted sizes only $1.99 a pound. Fresh turkey breast only $2.59 a pound. Smithfield brown sugar spiral sliced bone-in ham, only $2.99 a pound. Thanksgiving dinner ordering available now. Just go to henhouse.com and choose from a variety of Thanksgiving feasts. So stop by Henhouse this Monday and get ready for Thanksgiving.
Hey guys, it's Grunny here from my friends at CBD American Shaman. Man, I love football and I love big scores. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman stores the day after the game. If Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off all the next day at your local CBD American Shaman store. If they put up 50, you got it, 50% off all the very next day. Now that's a big win. CBD American Shaman. Life is so much better with the feather.
Looking for a job or career change? Let Sports Radio 810 help you out with the 810 Job Connections program. Go to the community page at 810WHB.com and check out the list of partners that are hiring. Is your business wanting to hire? Email Sandy Cohen at scohen@unionbroadcasting.com to see how you can be a part of the 810 Job Connections program. See job opportunities from great companies like Twin Peaks, Amini's, and MJ Transportation. Go to 810WHB.com/community.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
This is Tammy Romstad, the District Athletic Director for the Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools and proud Kansas Cityan. As someone who has spent 30 years in sports at the high school, community college, NCAA Division I, and international levels, I can absolutely say that sports provides opportunities that will open doors for a lifetime. The future of Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools football has been boosted by the generous equipment donations of the D. Pasquale Moore Law Firm. Thank you to Mike and the entire staff for being a company that cares.
Football season is heating up, but is your furnace ready to tackle another cold Kansas City winter? Better call Bob and get a $99 furnace safety inspection and cleaning. Your team is counting on you. Time for a new furnace? Get a brand new one for just $68 a month. Bob Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, Rooter, and Electrical. Better call Bob.
Call 888-4BOB. Remember 913.
Aristocrat Motors suggests before you go to your holiday gatherings, you come see their incredible selection of SUVs that will qualify for year-end tax savings. Their pre-owned department is stocked and has your next vehicle. Visit your tax accountant to make sure you qualify, and then visit Aristocrat Motors to pick out your new tax savings SUV. Aristocrat Motors, I-35 and Shawnee Mission Parkway, or online at aristocratmotors.com.
Aristocrat Motors does not give tax advice, and you should rely on your tax advisors to see if you qualify for Section 179 tax savings. Vehicle must be purchased by December 31, 2021.
Hey KC, Jeff Padine here from Mercedes-Benz of Kansas City. The award-winning best of the best place to buy in KC just became the best place to sell your car, truck, or SUV. We want to buy your vehicle today. Also, we have the hot new vehicles that you want rolling in daily. Reserve your new Mercedes today or choose from our incredible selection of certified and pre-owned vehicles with rates as low as 1.99%. And this month, we'll even make your first payment. Mercedes-Benz of Kansas City, 1/2 mile east of State Line on Highway 150. Minutes from everywhere. MBFKC.com.
The home of the Jayhawks. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Bean looking right, throwing right, has a man at the 10. It's Trevor Wilson to the 5, to the end zone. He's in. Touchdown Jayhawks.
The official radio home for Kansas Athletics in Kansas City. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Ochai for the tie. Yes.
You're listening to the home of the Jayhawks. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Prescott. Lamb. It's picked. Intercepted by Ward. What a play by Ward, and that was absolutely forced by Dak Prescott.
That was a huge play. It was a great play by Ward, and it is good for our play of the game, brought to you by Central Bank of the Midwest. Appreciate them, and I got to do the Central Bank pregame show this morning. Central Bank now capping off one of our segments here tonight. Before we get to Patrick Mahomes, we will hear from the Chiefs quarterback, his postgame press conference in about 30 seconds.
Patrick Mahomes' press conference. is brought to you by your Kansas City Acura dealers. They are partnering with Patrick Mahomes in support of his 15 in the Mahomes Foundation. Test drive to make a difference and enter to win a Mahomes jersey. By Xfinity Internet. Stay connected with Wi-Fi coverage that delivers the speed, reliability, and coverage you need. Can your internet do that? And by Westlake Ace Hardware, your home convenience store. Ready with the best brands and the right advice you need to get your quick fixes done even quicker. Stop into your nearest neighborhood Westlake Ace Hardware today.
Let's get to Patrick Mahomes. He was first asked about the challenge of trying to sustain a drive to kill the clock down there at the end of the game instead of actually just trying to score.
Yeah, luckily enough, we've been in those situations a couple times now, so we've kind of figured out a way to do that. I made the one bad decision, kind of trying to make the throw to Pringle there. They played it well, but other than that, I thought we ran the ball well when we needed to run the ball, and made plays happen. And at the end of games, it comes down to that. When the defense is playing like they're playing, to grind out drives at the end of the game to kind of kill the clock down, those are big drives that you'll need at the end of the year.
They were able to do it pretty successfully there, and ultimately it was good enough. Again, the offense wasn't perfect, but that drive certainly did the majority of its job. I also played that touchdown for you, the Clyde Edwards-Helaire one earlier. Patrick Mahomes was asked how Clyde looked in his first game back.
Yeah, I mean, he rolled, man. I mean, that was a good defensive front, a good defense, and he was finding little creases here and there to make some stuff happen. And I thought the offensive line did a great job getting them those windows. And so he'll keep incorporating them more and more. And I mean, he looked healthy, so I mean, it's glad to have him back. So hopefully we can find a way to throw him some passes too. He's pretty good. He's pretty good out of the back foot as well.
I have been continually surprised they haven't done more of that, but it seems like Darrell Williams, and this was true pre-injury, pre-Darrell Williams breakout game and all of that, Darrell Williams really seems to get the nod on third down for the most part, I think largely because of his pass protection skills, and the Chiefs trusted him there, but getting Clyde more involved in the passing game would be fine by me. Mahomes on the other side here, looking across the defense, was asked about Micah Parsons and how he played in this game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's a special player. I mean, to be that good of a linebacker and then be able to play defensive end, there's not a lot of guys like that in this league. And he has a high motor. I mean, chasing down on that sack, and then that strip sack, and then I mean, the whole game he was in there the whole time battling. And like I said, they have great players in that defense, and I thought our guys did a great job, especially early, and then we battled through at the end of the game.
It really is crazy. Like, imagine Frank Clark spending a good chunk of his time at linebacker, or Willie Gay occasionally walking up the Frank Clark spot and just rushing the passer from the end. He's a heck of an athlete and had a nice game tonight, but not nice enough to keep the Chiefs out of the end zone the two times that they needed to salt this game away. He mentioned earlier on there just that the defense, whenever you've got the defense rolling like it was here tonight, you know you can just try to run the clock out, and then if you got to give the ball back, that's fine. You have some faith there. He was asked about what stands out to him about the performance of this defense over the last month.
Yeah, I mean, I think ever since pretty much the second half of the Tennessee game, those guys have been playing better. It got lost because the offense wasn't playing very well, that we were winning games because of the defense, and so people are so used to our offense kind of going out there and putting up these numbers. But I would say it every week when I was right here at the podium, like, don't lose how good our defense is playing. And to go up against an offense like that, that has put up so many yards, so many scores and touchdowns, and then to shut it down, I mean, that's impressive. And so for us as an offense, when you get in these kind of funks that we kind of did in that second half, we know if we just can just grind it out, get field goals, try to find a way to get a touchdown, then we're going to win the football game.
To flip from him kind of admitting a couple weeks ago, more than a couple now, I guess, but a few weeks ago to mention, like, yeah, I guess I have been pressing a little bit, to getting to a point now where it is not a joke to say that Mahomes knows that his defense can win this game if it needs to. That is character development for this Chiefs team. On the offensive side, with some of these turnovers, there was an incredible next-gen stat that with a chart as well that accompanied it. I'm sure you can find that on Twitter if you want to look for it, but I'll give you the summary here. It was showing Mahomes' bad luck turnovers. He was asked about that here tonight, about the bad luck turnovers that he's had this season, with Next Gen saying that 6 of his interceptions had a 75% chance or better of being an incompletion for the Chiefs, just falling harmlessly. He's had some bad luck this year.
It's a heck of a stat. I didn't know that, but I mean, it's part of the game. I've been lucky enough that I've had these turnover-worthy plays that haven't got picked off too. So I think you just go out, you go and play. If an interception happens, you move on to the next play, and that's how I've always rolled. And I'm gonna keep firing. I mean, when you're firing to a guy like Travis Kelce, I mean, he doesn't drop the football. I mean, I thought if I put the ball a little bit out in front of him, he probably makes that catch and splits and pick a couple people. So it's a combination of two things. It's me not putting it in the right spot, and then it just getting unlucky there at the end.
One is that, it's a heck of a stat. It's funny. And two, he used the phrase turnover-worthy throws or plays or whatever it was that he said there. That was a conversation point some over the last couple of years, and a lot of people didn't like hearing, like, hey, there are some of these places where Mahomes has actually been pretty lucky. That's never been, at least from me, a criticism of Mahomes. It's just an observation of what you've seen. And so whenever you have the luck go the other way, like you have this year, you understand it. It's not that he's forgotten how to play football. It's that sometimes the way the oblong ball bounces has an outsized impact on the result of the game. It's super interesting. We're all about to get a week off from Chiefs football. The bye has finally arrived for the Chiefs, and Mahomes was asked about where this team is right now heading into the bye week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it because we're still not playing our best football, and we're sitting here 7-4, at least a half game up on the AFC West, and you go into the bye week knowing you're going to play a lot of divisional opponents coming up. So everything's right in front of us. We can be better, especially offensively. The defense can continue to get better and better each and every week, and to be where we started to where we're at now, and still not even playing our best football, I would take that every time.
Patrick, you mentioned you want to improve the offense and what will be after the bye week. In what ways do you think you guys could be a little bit better in the final stretch of the season?
Yeah, I think when you get in those third medium areas where the teams are kind of playing that man-thief coverage, just finding ways to beat that. I mean, a lot of teams are playing it to us, so we have to be better there. We kind of stop the self-inflicted wounds, if it's the holding or if it's the interceptions or the fumbles or whatever that is. Whenever we don't have those, we usually drive the ball and score, or at least get in range to kick a field goal. So just execution on that part, and then finding ways to beat some coverages that have kind of given us some funks here and there throughout the season. But at least you know what they're going to play, so you can try to find a ways during this bye week.
That's kind of interesting. At least you know what they're going to play, so you can find some ways over the bye week of how to push back on that. That's kind of interesting. Beyond that, though, the Chiefs have now finished out no loss November, and they will not play another game this month, obviously, being off next week. So December brings this: Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, Steelers. That's your 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 divisional opponents, and then another a familiar face in the AFC. Those 3 divisional games are going to tell you a lot about where this team ends up. It's going to determine a lot over that stretch, because the AFC West right now is still very much in play for everyone. I mean, the Raiders and Broncos are both now an even 500, and if the Chargers lose tonight, they're up by a touchdown and just about to approach halftime. But if they lose tonight, they'd also be 500. If they win, they'll be 6-4, and just that one victory behind the Chiefs. So if they won next week, the Chargers would go. Chiefs fans should be rooting for the Steelers tonight, by the way. I'm doing some more math here now, even though the record's currently better. Because if the Chargers win tonight and next week, then they would actually take first place back from the AFC West, because currently they have the tiebreaker. But again, a game like that makes that Chargers game on December 16th in LA all the more vital, because that game is determining if your record is enough, or if you need some other tiebreaker, or if the Chargers have the tiebreaker there. So just a lot to soak up there. Mentioned some of the penalties earlier. Trey Smith ended up with 2 penalties on 1 play. Obviously not ideal. Mahomes was asked about what he said to Trey Smith after that play went down.
Yeah, I mean, he's like the quietest guy, so I don't know how he ended up saying something that got him in trouble. But, I mean, you have to kind of teach him that you can't – I mean, if you're going to say something, say it under your breath at least. Don't let anyone hear it. But you love having the mentality that he has, that he wants to be great. He wants to continue to be – he was more – I think he's probably mad at himself as much as he was mad at anything else. And so for him, he'll learn from that. I mean, I highly doubt it happens again. But, I mean, I want him finishing every single play and playing the way he's played this entire season.
It's a good answer from a quarterback that's got that guy in front of him. I'm not even saying it's wrong or that he's saying it falsely. It's just a good answer. You want your guy to play that way, and you don't want him to add 15 yards to your first down march. Both of those things are true, 100%. Next year, we're talking about that play to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the option play where they both went right, and Mahomes just had to read one defender. He was asked about that play, and Eric Bieniemy looking excited whenever they came off the field there.
Yeah, he wasn't excited. He was very upset at first, and he got over there, and we'd already talked to Clyde. I mean, obviously Clyde knew that he probably shouldn't have done it, and it's really high emphasis on the taunting right now. And he came over there, and we'd already talked to Clyde. Clyde knew, and so he started getting mad, and then we started hyping him up, and it made him start laughing. And it's hard to break him. It's hard to break with him even whenever he's in that moods. But it's kind of what we do, man. We all love each other and want to be better together.
That's a pretty chill vibe. You got Eric Bieniemy just mother bleeping you on the sideline. I am confident, and then you can get him to start laughing about it. That's fun. I like that from Mahomes. That's a good vibe. Also, this was I think this was up on the Jumbotron because Lebo mentioned earlier that Tyrann Mathieu was just sort of watching Red Zone while he was doing his warm-ups and trying to work through some of those drills and talking to Rick Burkholder. Mahomes was asked about watching Red Zone before the game and all the parity in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been this entire season. I mean, there's been a lot of ups and downs for everybody. And so we know that we have to go in with the mindset every single week if we have to be our best. And if we're not our best, we have to find a way to continue to get better and try to find a way to get a win. I think you've seen that this season. We've had games where we've put up a lot of points and played really good. We've had games that we haven't, and we still found a way to get a win. It's a team game in this sport, and it's not the same as it's been these last few years. But when you play as a team and you find a way to win these tough, adverse games, I mean, that's when you have those special teams, and I'm excited for the rest of the season.
Again, all of that is fine. You got to have different ways you can win. I think that's super reasonable. You also want to see the offense play as well as you can, though, right? Winning a game 41-14 like you did against the Raiders there, that's winning because everything played well. Every unit played well. Everyone played great. Today, you've got a good start from the offense, a slow second half, but the defense was superb. Last thing from Patrick Mahomes here, his thoughts on if he's surprised by how quickly the Chiefs have turned things around this season.
Not necessarily. I mean, we just kind of we're just going to take it week by week. We're going to get better and better each and every week this year. We lost some games close early that we probably should have won if we had found ways to finish. And then we took some big lumps and had some big losses that we don't usually have here. But I think you have those leaders in this room that we kind of went back to the drawing board, went back to the fundamentals, and decided to take it week by week, go through the process, trusting the coaching staff. And we're sitting here now with everything in front of us, so we just got to keep that same mindset.
You talked about the lumps earlier in the year. I'm sure you saw the comments. The Chiefs are broken. Patrick Mahomes is broken. Now 4-game winning streak. Going to the bye week on a high note. What's your message to those?
Yeah, I mean, there's still a long ways to go. Obviously, I knew we were never broken as a team. We have too many good players, too many special guys on this team that go through the process, even when they're bad times or good times. But we're still early in the season. I mean, I know we've kind of got to that second half, but our goal is to be on top at the end of the season. It's not to win the regular season, but you have to go through that process of every single day of being better, winning that week to be a great team. And I think we're going to try to do that. And at the end of the year, we'll figure out.
Nope. Okay. I don't know what we're going to figure out, but we're going to figure out at the end of the year. We'll figure out something. Is there more audio to that, Beard? Is that where it ended? Did you mess up or you throw Rudy under the bus?
Yeah, I messed up on that one.
What happened?
I slid the thing down too early.
What are we going to find out at the end of the year?
Well, do you want to find out now?
Yeah.
I think we're going to try to do that, and at the end of the year, we'll figure out what we need.
No, I still didn't hear what they're going to figure out. I need that last.
I think we're going to try to do that.
Hands up,
and
hands
at the
up.
end of the year, we'll figure out what we need to say then.
All right, what will we need to say then? Now I can sleep at night. I can't really, because this show cannot possibly end without Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. We'll take a break here in the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show and talk to our friend Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. He was at the game in the press box, overseeing it all from above. What did he have to make of the Chiefs' performance on all angles from all sides of the ball? We'll talk to him about that whenever we come back. But first, I need you to remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Matt Derrick next on Sports Radio 810.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, then get ready to pay up. The IRS has giant private collection agencies actively tracking down folks who owe the IRS. So if you think dodging them was stressful in the past, it's going to get a whole lot tougher. Optima Tax Relief has this advice. Don't wait. Solve your tax problems now before it's too late. Optima Tax Relief works to stop the demand letters, stop the aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS collectors from targeting you. Ask Optima about the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, and nobody knows this program better than they do. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results, having resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get a fresh start. Call today for your free consultation.
Call 800-259-8642. 800-259-8642. 800-259-8642.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Tired of searching for sports updates in different places? The Xfinity Sports Zone gives you the ultimate sports hub experience. Find games, commentary, news, and highlights all in one place. Use the voice remote to get instant access to stats and scores. Just say, "Show me NASCAR" or "Soccer scores." Plus, get notifications with breaking news alerts and more when the game's about to start. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
Your money management is now manageable. With an account from Central Bank, you'll have all the tools and technology you need to move, manage, and maximize your money the way you want, when you want. And you have the perk of local branches right in your community when you need some one-on-one time. Because we do banking better. Open your account online or in person at any of our convenient locations. Central Bank. Strong roots. Endless possibilities. Member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Fred Ramsey. And I'm Mark Tobin. Hey, folks, if you're not busy Saturday mornings from 6 to 7 a.m., well, I hope you'll join us for the Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, St. Joe.
Join us and our expert guests, and we'll be talking about hunting and fishing, dog training. We'll give you tips, pass along stories, and most important, share some laughs along the way.
That's right. We cover it all, from crappie to waterfowl, and we'll tell you how to cook it, too.
The Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
If you're ready for a new vehicle, it's time to visit Robert Brogdon Buick GMC in Olathe. They're offering 0% financing on many new Buick and GMC models, including the 2022 Buick Envision or GMC Acadia. Plus, the 2021 GMC Yukon and Sierra Heavy Duty and Light Duty trucks are now available. At Brogdon, they don't just sell cars, they buy them too. Even if you don't trade in your vehicle, they'll still buy yours. Visit robertbrogdon.com or see them in person at I-35 in Santa Fe and Olathe. Must qualify and finance through GMF or special APR.
Hi there, Gary Giles with Giles & Jewelry. Everybody knows Giles & Jewelry is the place to buy an engagement ring. Thousands of diamond rings, quality second to nobody. Come on into Joslin, 95th and Antioch, right in front of the big High B. Joslin's Jewelry. We're the jewelers you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry, for the best that's yet to come.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One with a preview of NFC action when the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the New York Giants. Tom Brady and the Bucs are on a 2-game losing skid. Now they face Daniel Jones and the Giants coming off their bye week in hopes of fielding a healthy and rested squad. Tony Baselli joins me for the call on Monday Night Football.
Kansas City's home for the National Football League. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Prescott balls out. Chiefs have it. Chris Jones on the return. Turnover here early by Dallas. As Frank Clark forced the fumble, and Chris Jones was there for the Chiefs. Prescott keeps, is in trouble. Jones brings him down. So third down now. Prescott is out of bounds. Fourth down. And there is Chris Jones and Frank Clark again. Chiefs back off. Prescott is sacked. Jones again. And Dak Prescott has seen enough of his fellow Mississippi State Bulldog.
He certainly did. A huge game for Chris Jones tonight, going up against his former college quarterback. He said after the game that he's trying to talk to Dak. Dak went and talked to him. And so I am reading that as he just wanted to go see his old friend, give him a few hugs over the course of the game, and he did that quite successfully. We'll talk about the Chiefs' 19-9 victory over the Dallas Cowboys now with our friend Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. You can follow him on Twitter as well, at Matt Derrick. And as always, he's brought to you by Bob Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, Rooter, and Electrical. You better buzz Bob, now offering electrical services, panels, wiring, generators, updating fixtures. They do it all, offering a whole home every time. It's a speed bump for me. Now offering a whole home electrical inspection for just $99. Call 888-4BOB. Remember the 913. Matt Derrick, this is a weird place for us to be. I think I've continued the rhymes here. But the defense tonight is clearly the top story from the Chiefs' victory, right?
It's hard not to talk about the defense. I mean, this was an impressive performance from beginning to end. I'm not sure I can really critique the defense in a negative way. I mean, it was an A-plus effort across the board.
And I know that in the recent weeks that we've seen good performances from this team, you've been able to say, yeah, how good is Daniel Jones and how good are his weapons? Or then, it's Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones and all those guys, but there's no Aaron Rodgers. And then Derek Carr, that Raiders offense has been pretty good, but they lost Henry Ruggs. Well, now you get the Cowboys, who came into this as I believe it was the highest scoring offense in football, and they didn't have Amari Cooper, they didn't have Tyron Smith, and they ultimately lost CeeDee Lamb right before the half. I understand that these are not full-strength units the Chiefs have gone up against, but how are you doing that evaluation, acknowledging that it's not a perfect form of any of these offenses, but also that it's been some darn good performances?
Well, that's I think the bottom line. I mean, the Cowboys are still pretty good. I mean, last I saw Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard and CeeDee Lamb for half the game, and Cedric Wilson and Michael Gallup, and I mean, these are all guys that, frankly, I mean, that's the best offense Chiefs faced in a while, even with just those guys out there. And you can only play the teams that's in front of you. Yep. You can't play an imaginary team that is you can't play the cardboard cutouts of those guys. Yeah. I mean, you play the team that's out there. And, and to me, I mean, hey, let's face it. I mean, Dak's a big part of that offense. I mean, just having the quarterback out there alone. Yeah, if you want to say that there's an asterisk next to the Green Bay win, I'll give you that because Aaron Rodgers wasn't there. Dak's out there. And this wasn't just that the Chiefs' defense, edged past the Cowboys. They dominated them from the beginning to the end. I mean, this was a full-throated defensive effort. And I was impressed with the way that they did it. I mean, I thought the game plan was very solid. Prescott was not comfortable at any point in that game. And a big part of it, I think, goes back to the game plan. But then you have to go to the execution as well. And the guys played extremely well. Chris Jones has clearly one of the best games of his career. I mean, that was a fantastic effort. But he wasn't alone. I mean, I thought that Travers Ward and L'Jarius Sneed had fantastic games. Willie Gay had some great moments out there. Frank Clark had some great moments out there. There weren't any blemishes. There wasn't. I can't remember a single play in this game where you say, "Oh, well, there's somebody who fell asleep at the switch."
Yeah.
There's somebody who had a letdown. There weren't any letdowns in this game, and that's what you got to do to win football games. You can't let down.
The next 4 games after the bye, Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, Steelers. The Broncos offense is nothing special. We just saw them handle the Raiders. And then the Chargers in that rematch could be pretty interesting. Steelers and Bengals both after that for the Broncos game again. Are you going to, you can frame this however you want, I guess. I'm interested if you're going to pick the Chiefs' opponents to, and the final score prediction for these games. Is it going to be Chiefs whatever, opponent 17 from here on out? Or how legitimate do you think this ultimately is going to prove to be?
That's a great question. I mean, right now, if the Chiefs are facing a typical NFL team, and I would say, who is the typical NFL team?
God, I don't know that there is one typical team in this league right now, Matt.
I mean, the Broncos are about as 500 as you can get.
Sure.
I mean, that's about as much of an 8.5 win team that I can find.
Yeah.
That's what they are. And, am I going to think that the Broncos, would I be picking them to put 24 points on the Chiefs right now? No. I mean, to me, I would be looking for this defense not to be giving up more than 17. I mean, because they're just consistently doing it. Now, the Chargers, that's the test that I think that you got to start looking towards. Mm-hmm. And there's a little bit of this team. I mean, yeah, I think you got to make sure that when you come back from the bye week, and Andy Reid, for the most part, usually has his teams prepared after the bye week. But they've got a couple of games there that, could be some letdown type games that you got to guard against. But I'm really curious to see, once you get to the playoff teams that are on the schedule, because you got three of them. You've got the Chargers, the Steelers, and the Bengals, all playoff caliber teams right now. How does this team look in those games? And what are you going to expect them to do? I mean, that will be even trickier. And we've got some steps to go before you get there. But that, to me, those three games are going to be the test for this team to see if they really are a contender. If this is a team you can see playing deep into January or February, or it's a team that maybe is who they've been proven to be through the first 11 games of the season, which is a good team that has some flaws.
I think there are plenty of totally valid answers to this question, but if you had to pick one, what would you say the biggest difference is in that unit from where we were at, against the Titans watching that game, talking after the Bills game, like in some of the defensive struggles earlier in the year? What's been the biggest biggest upgrade performance-wise or unit-wise or player-wise or whatever you would pick there?
Well, I do think there's a couple of good answers to it, and Andy Reid gave you some just after the game, and I don't disagree with them, but I go back to a couple of the really big ones. One we've talked about, which is what was the biggest thing that this defense could do to get better? Get Chris Jones and Frank Clark healthy. And Chris Jones may not be completely healthy, but boy, is he healthier than he was 6 weeks ago. And those two guys, when they are playing the way that they are right now, Chiefs defense is a completely different team. One other big element is Willie Gay. This team was not prepared to play without Willie Gay on defense.
Yep.
We're seeing a guy right now who, you have to go back to Derrick Johnson in his prime, and even DJ in his prime was a few years ago. It wasn't just yesterday or 2016. I mean, you got to go back a few years before you get to that point where you've seen some linebacker play like you're getting out of Willie Gay right now. He's still learning, but, he has that makeup eraser type ability that DJ had. And the Chiefs were not prepared to play without him. I mean, he was a big part of what their expectations were. And I think that having the secondary healthy as well. Traverse Ward missed a few games. I think L'Jarius Sneed was dinged up a little bit there. You see what those guys with Juan Thornhill, with Tyrann Mathieu, that quartet together, and Rashad Fenton getting back into the right place, I think, in the rotation. That is a really good group. At least, I think that they are better than the sum of their parts.
Yeah.
I just think they seem to play really well together, and they fit in with what Steve Spagnuolo wants to do. So, to me, yeah, it's a complicated answer, but I think all of those are important pieces to what this defense has done.
We're talking to our friend Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest right now here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City, Sports Radio 810 Postgame Show, brought to you by Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman. You point to the defensive backs and even the phrase, greater than the sum of their parts right now. It's kind of funny just because I felt like, weeks, I don't know, take your pick, week 2, 3, 4, 5, or somewhere in there, it felt like they were worse than the sum of their parts. Like there's too much talent out there for them to be performing more poorly than as poorly as they were. So to see this turnaround is pretty stupendous. But also, like, all the things you rattled off, I think are tangible. So I hope most fans right now aren't living in fear that it's all a mirage, because I do think that in large part that's sustainable.
Well, and to me, I think a big part of it, and why I say injuries were certainly a part of it, maybe even rotations were part of it, is that the Chiefs' defense was asking guys to do things that they're just not built to do. I mean, Ben Neiman and Dan Sorensen, at this point in their careers, are very solid niche role players. You put them into roles in which they're designed for, in which they're talented for, and they can do, they're going to excel. I mean, they're going to, at least do the job that you're asking them to. But when you ask them to do more than they're capable of, then, yeah, they're going to get exposed, and you're going to see things happen. And that's true for some other guys. And, players were being asked to do maybe more than they were capable of earlier this season because of injuries, and maybe a little bit it was, that the coaching staff were kind of figuring out what they had with a few different players. Yeah. But now, you've seen them settle into a rotation across the board. And, and that's hard not to draw a line, too, with the addition of Melvin Ingram. I mean, him coming in and allowing Chris Jones to play more inside, which I think everybody will now concede. I don't want to say a defender. I mean, I was of Chris Jones on the outside because I was with Spags. I mean, I agreed that I felt like that their four best defensive linemen on the field at the beginning of the season included Chris Jones on the outside because they had nobody else to play there.
Yeah.
They needed to have Jaron Reed on the field, and he and Chris, generally play the same position. So, hey, they've juggled it a little bit about making both those guys be able to be on the field at the same time, be productive. So they had to do a few things, but right now, this team, their best rotation is with Chris Jones on the inside, and you're seeing them play him more and more on the inside.
What about on the offensive side? Obviously, a 19-point effort is not a great final result. The first half felt like, to me at least, maybe it was just right out of the gate, and then I rode that high for a little while. It felt like a good carryover of what we saw against the Raiders last week. And in the second half, it kind of stalled out. How did you digest all that? How did you Chiefs digest all of that? Sorry.
How about Chiefs digest? Once again, I point to the first 15, and the first 15 script today was once again tremendously on point. Great opening drive. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have the notes in front of me, but I think that second drive was a 3-and-out. And then they come back with another touchdown drive after that. I could be mistaken there. I drink heavily during these games, as you know, Josh. But that first 15 script, and I thought even a little bit into the later in the first half was very solid. And then you saw 6 drives where the Chiefs kind of went back to what the offense had been. You saw a couple of drives torpedoed by penalties. You had a fumble. You had an interception. You had the mistakes, and some of them were maybe bad luck, maybe. But you saw 6 drives where the Chiefs were kind of the Chiefs again. With all of these mistakes, torpedoing every single drive. Finally got up to Schneid to get the field goal, and things kind of settled down after that. And I thought that that final drive to try and run down the clock was pretty effective too. But once again, they just need to figure out how to eliminate those mistakes. You can't get once again, the Chiefs' worst enemy is the Chiefs. Yeah. Was it help me here, 20 yards in penalties that Trey Smith picked up?
25 on that play. Yeah.
25 on that play. Yeah, can't do that.
No.
The interception to Kelsey that I still don't know how Travis Kelsey did not catch that football.
Yeah.
Those are the things were happening when the Chiefs' offense struggled.
Well, also, Matt, and I don't know if you're too afraid to say the truth, but the fact that Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't arrested after the game for pointing at another defender, I can't, what does this country stand for anymore if not some swift punishment for that kind of absolute, just violence, really. I'll call it violence.
Yeah, you really have a thing about that taunting rule, don't you?
It's that call. Look, Rashad Fenton shooting an air shotgun over towards the Cowboys sideline is gonna get flagged. I get it. All right, he got decapitated before that, and there wasn't a flag thrown at the time, so I understand his frustration, if I'm being honest. But whatever. That Fenton's is gonna get called. Those offset. All right, fine. Clyde Edwards-Helaire pointed at a man. He pointed at him while running in to the end zone.
Well, all I know, Josh, is that next time we're at a press conference and you ask a question and you point at me afterwards.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to tackle you to the ground.
You should. So. You should because I'm absolutely putting you on the spot in a way that is so disrespectful that I
can't point.
I should be led away in handcuffs.
I don't know which is worse, the fact that that's what the rule is and that's what it got called or anything, or the moment that he pointed, I was like, oh, that's 15 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stinks. I saw somebody tweet hey, after I think it was Pringle had a good kick return, they were like, kind of bummed me out to see Byron Pringle basically respond to that like he was at a funeral of a loved one because he's so afraid to smile too hard and get flagged for 15.
I still want to know what Trey Smith said, because it was clearly something he said, because it didn't seem to be anything that he did, no gesture of any sort. So I would love to know. I have a feeling that, I mean, I'm sure if we guess.
Yeah, say what you think it was.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
And that's the end of this radio show forever.
Hey, Matt, don't let Josh influence you.
I used to have an FCC license, so I don't want to run afoul of those laws.
I'm already going on vacation after this. I feel like I could just say, "Oh, that's bleeping sweet, Matt."
Although I am guessing I'm guessing that whatever Trey did, it needed a 5-second delay. So
yeah, that's probably true. You also mentioned the first 15, and I think I asked you about this last week, and I'm not going back to it because I was unsatisfied with your answer from last week. I'm just still trying to figure it out. Do you feel like you have any better grasp on what the play calling situation is for the Chiefs? I've got a whole secondary element of that that'll run by you afterwards, but explain to me what you think is going on in terms of how the plays are being picked and how they're getting to Patrick Mahomes.
That's a fantastic question, because I think we all wonder. I mean, I don't know that I have the answer.
Yeah.
So I have some suspicions, but I will say this, and Andy Reid's kind of addressed it in the sense before, to say, you know what, everybody's got a voice, but ultimately Andy Reid has 51% control.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody can make a suggestion over what a play call should be. And Andy Reid, ultimately, would be the one that he's going to either sign off on it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, once again, I said this before, Andy Reid's forgotten more about playing football, coaching football, calling plays than I'll ever know.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, there are times that I'm just like, what in the world was that?
Right.
I mean, that option pitch to the Clyde when they were trying to run out the clock there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that was. I don't know whose idea that was. I just know that whoever's idea that was should be probably, given a 1-week suspension from play calling.
Sure.
That one I was not a fan of.
So let me just run this by you, and you tell me if this makes sense or if this seems right to you. Because here's what I don't understand in terms of all the play calling conversations. I would think that Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and everybody with the headsets working from the same play sheet, right? Like that there's not that Eric Bieniemy doesn't have Eric's plays and Andy Reid has Andy's plays. And so I would think that that process leading up to the week, which you've correctly pointed out, they talk about all the time, that being a collaborative effort. Andy Reid doesn't only give credit to Bieniemy and to Mahomes, but it's also to Mike Kafka and Joe Blameyer and Greg Lewis. It's just all these different guys that have different amounts of say in how they build all of that out. Whenever you get to game day and something's not working, I wonder how much of that is play calling in the sense of picking something from your sheet and from your game plan, and I wonder how much of that is what you prepared over the course of the week, not ultimately paying off. What do you make of that and what that balance might be? I'm spitballing too here. I'm not pretending to have any of these answers.
Yeah, I mean, and that's an excellent question because it's not like. And sometimes I think that, people who don't know much about this and just your typical fan might not realize it. There's almost nothing that a team is going to run on a Sunday that they didn't run during the week at some point. I mean, they're going to have 100, 120 plays on that call sheet, maybe. And every one of them, they probably ran at least once, or it's something that they run consistently and practice all the time. So it's nothing that's new. I mean, there's not a lot of surprises. And there's going to be some plays that, hey, Wasp is a great example. I mean, that's a play that, is probably on a lot of game sheets and everything like that. Just didn't call it a lot. But it was always something they had in their bag. And so there's nothing that's a surprise. But, where I think that, teams can difficulties sometimes is that how do you get that rhythm? How do you and with an Andy Reid offense with this, the West Coast design, I mean, he's from the disciples that we talked about. You script the first 15, so the first 15 plays of the game, barring, some minor adjustments for, maybe field position and certain things. They know what they're going to do. They've run through that during the week. They've practiced it. they've prepared for it, so they know what they're going to do and what the options are. And then after that, it's adjusting to what the defense is doing and what you're seeing and looking at the film, and then trying to pick the best plays that you've worked on that fit. And I think that the problem is sometimes is that the guys on the sideline, and especially when you have a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, who's got his own ideas, that it's how do you make sure that everybody's on the same page? And with the Chiefs, where and Andy Reid's given us no reason to believe that Eric Bieniemy is not currently calling the plays, because he's the last time that we broached this subject, he said that, hey, EB is calling the plays, and I try to make that pretty obvious so you guys could figure it out. But how much of that is it's still EB calling the plays and it's 100% his call, versus how many times does Andy come up and say, nope, let's try this instead. Or how often is Patrick saying, that's not what I want to do? I think that's the difficulty of making sure that everybody is on the same page and comfortable, because I have a possibility that if, as a coach on the sideline, that you probably at times have a different idea about what you want to do than your gunslinger push it down the field quarterback. And that's where I wonder if it's tough to juggle it. And I've asked a couple of questions over the last few weeks of EB and Coach Reid about trying to kind of get a grasp on that, because that's difficult, and it's really curious to me that we have seen the Chiefs be so effective on these opening scripts. Really, I feel like most of the season, but especially the last 4 or 5 games. 4 games. Well, we won't go back to the Titans. That was a disaster. But 4 games for sure. And now we've seen, except for the Raiders game throughout, having teams where they just don't look like the same offense once you get past those first 15. And that's kind of perplexing to me.
Yeah, me too. Our phone connection has done some fun things in the last minute or two, but I'm going to try to get one more incredibly important question and answer out of you, which is that this is the last time we'll chat before Thanksgiving. At least last time we'll chat on the radio. I would like your most overrated and most underrated Thanksgiving dish.
Most overrated and most underrated.
And I want your objective personal favorite. Like I'll stall for you on this one, on the objective personal favorite front. I love Renee has found this out, that it is the simplest on the can recipe for a green bean casserole. And it's what my grandma made apparently for long enough that it got deep into my brain and heart and soul, and I love it, even though it's the recipe that comes in the can of French cut green beans. I'm not saying that's overrated or underrated or anything. It's just that is my I can't help myself favorite. So fill those 3 categories out for me.
I mean, I'll admit I'm not a huge fan of the green bean casserole.
That's fine. More for me.
It's okay.
Yeah, I don't care. You know what? I hope no one else eats it. Because the only thing I'm going to eat for a month.
The most overrated to me, anything with cranberries.
Wow.
I hate cranberries. I say that even though one of my favorite dishes of all time is a party meatball that my Aunt Ann handed down the recipe through the family, my great Aunt Ann. And that thing has jellied cranberry sauce with chili sauce in it for party meatballs. And they are fan-freaking-tastic.
Yeah.
But cranberries by themselves, no. I could just punt them out. I mean, I never eat cranberries.
They do bounce if they're raw still, so you could at least have some fun throwing them.
I've got sliced, jellied, whole, anything, cranberries, trash.
Okay.
I mean, underrated? I mean, I'm the type of guy who's going to eat stovetop stuffing in March.
Yeah, that
to
qualifies,
me,
absolutely.
I mean, and to me, I'm stuffing is also one of those dishes where even if it's trash, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I don't have to have homemade stuffing in the bird. Like I said,
Right.
Just find a $1.50 box of stuffing, and I'll eat that for dinner.
Yep.
But do not, please, for the love of God, do not put mushrooms in them.
Oh,
and
okay.
don't put pecans on anything. I hate mushrooms, and I'm allergic to tree nuts.
I didn't know that. Learn something new about you every time, Matt.
There you go.
I'm not a huge mushroom fan, but I'm not allergic to tree nuts, at least as far as I've found out. Wouldn't that be wild to just find out at this point, like, oh, I wonder why my face got all red and puffy and I couldn't breathe every time I had an almond. But I just sort of thought that. Well, you know what? Here's what I'll leave you with, Matt. I realized, we're talking months ago, not years ago, I was talking to someone, probably Renee, about why I don't really like walnuts very much. It's like I can kind of take or leave a few different types of various nuts. I like almonds. I think cashews are overrated, whatever. And I was explaining that I don't really like walnuts just because they always make my mouth feel funny, kind of like tingly or whatever. And there was a confusion staring back at me. And that's how I realized I think I'm just a little bit allergic to walnuts. And I just spent my entire life thinking that happened to everybody. And like for Renee, she just thought that everyone got really sweaty whenever they ate sour candy. And I was like, no, that one's just you. And I made fun of her for thinking that was something everyone went through. And then I just sort of thought that walnuts were like nature's Pop Rocks for basically 25 years.
This makes me, maybe I should ask this question. Does Mexican food make everybody gassy, or am I allergic to it?
Wow, great question. I'll tweet it out. I'll make it a poll question. I think that beans make a lot of people gassy. But I don't know, if you're just having if you're having some chips and salsa and all of a sudden it's, your house turns into more of sort of a NASA launch pad, I think you should talk to a doctor.
Well, there's probably a lot of things I should talk to a doctor about.
That's fair. Beards, for example, is allergic to all fruits and vegetables. It doesn't seem possible, but it's apparently true because I've only ever seen this man eat meat, cheese, and I guess potatoes. Potatoes are the one that's apparently cleared for him.
How does Beards eat the way that he does and look the way that he does?
Beards?
I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that seems about right. Yeah, I don't know why he's not 900 pounds and also on one of those My Strange Addiction TV shows where it's just if he doesn't have chicken fingers, he cries. That's what happens on the TV shows. And I'm guessing it happens for Beards. I've never seen him not have. He always just has a Chewbacca style bandolier of chicken fingers at all times.
That's not a problem. I mean, no. I approve.
Yeah, it's great. He's got little sauce packets in them and stuff. It's wonderful.
Well, no, that's like the old West style holsters. That's where the sauce is, and you just dip them.
You just got like a barbecue one and like a Cane's one. You don't eat the Cane's sauce,
no,
I guess.
I just needed two barbecue sauces.
All right, one of them spicier than the other one, or they exactly the same?
That's fine.
Okay. This
does he ever put ketchup on his chicken strips though?
No.
Even Beards draws the line somewhere, Matt, and it's 1 inch before you cross it.
This is, now that we're completely off the rails.
Yeah.
I was grocery shopping for Thanksgiving the other day, and I did buy a bottle of ketchup for Thanksgiving because I just figured, you know what? You never know when you might need some ketchup.
You might just need it for something. Like if somebody puts cranberries on your plate, you can just cover it up with ketchup. And
I'm like, I don't think I need this for my turkey or anything.
Yeah.
But you know what? Something's going to pop up at some point, and I have used ketchup as a dip for potato chips in the past. So.
That I don't like that, but I get it. Fried potatoes into ketchup is historically a good pairing, so I'll allow it, I suppose. This has been our almost entirely Chiefs post-game chat, I think. I don't know if it's the bye week. I don't know if it's the game. I don't know that it's a little bit later, but we've made pretty good time over the course of the show. I'm not sure what's happened, but we should probably end it now.
It's Thanksgiving. It's the holidays. It's all about being thankful. And Josh, I am thankful that you are a part of my life.
Thank you, Matt. I'm thankful for you, not just on this show, but in my life as a whole, Matt. Thank you very much for making the time for us tonight, every week. And I'm not going to see you at Chiefs Pressers for, I think, a couple of weeks, but I'll see you again soon. And don't just text me if anybody tries to make you eat any cranberries. I'd like to hear more about this saga over Thanksgiving if I can get it.
I will, and I will gladly send you some photos of my Thanksgiving foods.
Please, yes, I'd love to judge them, and I'll get that poll question up for you now too.
Take care, guys.
It's Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. You can follow him on Twitter at Matt Derrick. He'll be Chiefs Digesting all of the Thanksgiving food except for cranberries and tree nuts, I guess, and mushrooms coming up next week. We'll take a break here in the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. That's the most that this show's gotten away from me yet this year, which is really saying something because we did a show after a lightning delay and the Chiefs got their bleep canned by the Bills on primed at night, like late. And this is the most the show's gone off the rails this year. I feel like I've been very, very proper throughout most of this season. But Like, I literally am getting on a flight tomorrow. I got senioritis, maybe. Doesn't explain why I haven't thrown to a break yet, though. I should probably do that here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll hear from Mike McCarthy whenever we come back.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Hey, Kansas City, do you have plans on the night before Thanksgiving? Well, now you do. Sports Radio 810 and CBD American Shaman present Dolomite live at the Uptown Theater, featuring special guests, the Accidental Moguls, with my son, Richie St. John. It all happens the night before Thanksgiving at the Uptown Theater. Tickets are available now at Ticketmaster. $15 for GA, $25 for VIP. Be there.
Icon is seeking healthy, non-smoking men and women ages 18 to 55 to participate in a clinical research study at our facility in Lenexa, Kansas. Women must be of non-childbearing potential. Volunteers must be available for one stay of 6 nights and one follow-up visit. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $4,200 for time and travel. Call Icon today at 913-210-5900. That's 913-210-5900.
As we start a new school year, most of us are lucky to have a home for our children. But for some families, that's not the reality. They are homeless and without hope. Fortunately, there's a solution. At North American Savings Bank, we believe in taking care of our community. We are a proud supporter of Community Link, who has ended and prevented homelessness for over 35 years throughout Greater Kansas City. Call 816-595-5553 for more information.
Hey, guys, no pressure here, but if you really want to make this the best holiday ever, ask her already. What's more romantic than a holiday proposal? Come to Shane Company to see our amazing selection of unique engagement rings, crafted to last forever. Our warranty is free for a lifetime, and it even covers the center stone. No matter your budget, we'll help you create the perfect ring. We also have rings already set with a center stone, ready to go. And let's talk about center stones. All of our diamonds are conflict-free and natural, handpicked for their beauty. And Tom Shane personally selects our rubies and sapphires in Bangkok. We have so many center stones to choose from, plus we're a direct importer, which means we pass the savings on to you. All right, guys, make it happen.
Book a virtual or an in-store appointment with a non-commissioned jewelry consultant, or just drop by the store. Check our website for hours. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy, Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
This ad for Hellsberg Diamonds has been specifically written for those who'd rather think about football than engagement rings. When free agency starts, your team wants to get the best players they can without spending too much. If your team is you and the players are engagement rings, then your best bet in free agency is shopping at Hellsberg Diamonds, where you know you'll get the highest quality diamonds at prices that keep you from going over the salary cap. Visit your local Hellsberg store and ask about our price match guarantee, or check us out at hellsberg.com.
Hear exclusive Chiefs coverage every week from the best in the business. Only on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Trent Green, Adam Schefter, Tim Grunhard, Adam Teicher, Matt Derrick, Adam Kaplan, Chef Shadia, Nick Leckie, Gary Barnett, Sam Mellinger, Bill Moss, Mark Bullrichter, Stan Weber, Sam McDowell, Seth Kaiser, Blair Kirchhoff, Kevin Harlan, Field Yates, Jesse Newell, Cynthia Freeland, and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Here's Butker off that extra point miss. This just a little farther, and he drills it from 37. 53 yards for Butker. Good snap, good hold, the kick. Boy, that's big. He got it.
Little buttkicker.com action there. Harrison Butker with those 2 field goals he hit. He missed an extra point early in the game and then had a great little pooch punt late in the game. Dropped it inside the 5 and the ball just died there. It's a nice game from Butker, and certainly a nice bounce back after missing the extra point early on. Main thing we need to get to here as we begin to wrap up our action here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. And before we get you to the fourth quarter of Chargers versus Steelers, we need to hear from the opposing coach, as we do every week. This week, of course, it is Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. Our post-game opposing coach press conference is always brought to you by Metcalf CarStar. If your vehicle gets sacked on the road, take it to Metcalf CarStar, the collision repair experts. They make it convenient and easy to get back on the road. Go to carstar.com and search Metcalf CarStar. CarStar, relax. They'll take it from here. We'll give it to Mike McCarthy. Let him take it from here as he addressed the media following his team's 10-point loss to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mike, can you talk about your inability to get anything going offensively today?
Yeah, I'll say as a football team, coming in here, we knew the environment was going to be a challenge. Arrowhead was rocking just as I remembered it. I thought our offense, it took a while to get settled in. I thought defense, once we got settled in, played well, particularly through that stretch in the second and third quarter. And special teams was a battle, but we didn't really get into the run pass mix that we would have liked. We lost the turnover battle, but tough place to play, and give the Chiefs a lot of credit. I thought they were playing a little faster than we were to start the game. I think it just took us a while to get settled in.
Mike, your offensive line just seemed not to play to the level that they had played previously. We just saw the change just too much.
Well, I don't know much about the change. We had a full week of practice. We had good prep coming in here. I just think the combination, they played well. They had good rush today. Played better run defense than I had hoped. But I think for the most part, it was a tough deal, and we'll be better next time we have to play in this type of environment.
We talked earlier in the week, and you talked about if you're going to be a good team and go where you want to go, you have to beat good teams on the road. And did you measure up today, and why not?
I mean, we didn't win the game, but by no means, we don't feel any less about who we are as a football team. By no means. So let's make that clear. We didn't play as well as we'd like, up front. I think the healthy dose of the run pass was the goal coming in here. We didn't achieve that. The turnovers. It's to win on the road. You got to take care of the football. Just all the basics that you look out throughout the course of the year. We've done a much better job of that. So it's a quick turnaround. Hey, we're discouraged. We're not discouraged. We're defeated tonight. But with that, the way we look at our team is we don't look at it any differently than the time we walked in here today.
How big is the loss of Mark Cooper? Him not being here, not being able to talk about it?
I'm not going to, just as I told the team, we have no excuses. We had a healthy 48, and the 48 players were ready to play. And we had a number of guys that didn't play in the game, and that's the NFL. That's the course of the season. We all understand the challenges that frankly we're going to pick up as we move forward. We got a quick turnaround. Have to go to a Thursday game, so we'll take that experience and grow from it.
Are you not bothered by losing a player for 2 games because he chooses to be unvaccinated?
I mean, frankly, those decisions are all part of this quest that we're under. So, those things are dealt with on an individual basis.
Dak's accuracy tonight wasn't where it normally was. It was more like a Denver game than most of the games he's played. Can you talk about his accuracy? And there are also some drops.
I mean, the big thing, I watch the line of scrimmage for the most part in the time clocks and the pace of the operation and things like that. So, as far as grading his throwing, I wouldn't be specific with that. So, but we were definitely not as efficient as we needed to be tonight.
How difficult will it be for CD with this quick turnaround to get out of the protocol?
Yeah, that's to be seen. Just was in the training room briefly, so I have no specific update. I don't know if Rich has any more than I do.
So is it merely public perception when people say this is the game that people should measure the Cowboys by? Is that merely public perception?
I mean, to be honest with you, it's we're 8-3. It's a long season, you love playing in these kind of games. You love the excitement and the build up to it, but it's all part of the challenge. So we need to be better from tonight's experience, and that's our outlook.
What was the decision to play Micah full-time on the edge tonight, and what did you make of his performance there?
Game plan, just game plan as you go through it, based off availability and how we felt we wanted to attack them offensively, and I thought he was all over the field. I thought he had an excellent night.
More broadly speaking, the defense, what did you think of the defense to hold it?
I like the way the defense played. I thought we started slow, as a team. I thought, like I said in the opening statement, I think it just took us a while to settle in. I mean, it was they were playing faster than we were at the beginning of the game. The crowd was helpful. The Cowboy fans were out there battling too, but it was loud. Particularly at the beginning of the game. But I thought defensively, once we settled in, I thought we did very well. I think we had 5 3-and-outs here, during a stretch of the second and third quarter. So I thought they did a lot of good things.
It looked like more too high safety from the defense. Is that the case that you guys played more too high safety?
We played too high safety tonight, yes.
What was your decision not to play Tyron Smith?
If he's ready, he's ready. If he's not, he's not. I mean, hopefully he'll be ready to go on Thursday. But it's a long year, and obviously time is very important to our football team. And when he's ready to go, we'll go.
How challenging is it affect you today on the line?
Well, I mean, it's why you practice with crowd noise. It's all about timing and the cohesiveness. Whether it's the run blocking, the pass protection, and they did a good job.
Was it a worst case scenario the way you started the game, win the coin toss, get the ball?
It was more about the wind.
Early on. Oh, really?
It was more about the wind.
How challenging is it in this environment to play from behind like you did against that front?
Well, I mean, it's you don't ever want to play from behind, but obviously with the environment. But we were in striking distance. I never felt like we were out of the game. So we just didn't play as well as we liked.
Is this a situation where a quick turnaround is a good thing, or is it so quick that...
I would say so, yeah. I think so. I agree with you there, Todd. I mean, I think it's, a chance to get up and get going again is preferred anytime you don't play as well as you like.
Mike, what can we take away from two of the last 3 games where you've had losses against AFC West teams?
Well, I think the carryover from Denver to tonight, I think Steve, played really aggressively outside, came with more pressure there to start the game. So, it's just like anything in this league. If you don't defeat it one week, you're going to see it again. So, we got to do a better job, particularly against the aggressive secondaries that we saw in Denver and Kansas City.
Mike, regarding Amari Cooper, we've seen some guys who missed games who were not vaccinated. Aaron Rodgers, obviously, is in that similar situation. A lot of pundits said it's a really kind of selfish decision. How do you defend against something like that?
I mean, hey, Amari's on our football team, and we'll move forward. It's part of this quest that we're on.
Losing him when you did, how much did it alter? I mean, because the game plan was in at that point. Yeah. Was it a significant change where you had to adjust it?
I mean, we were planning on carrying 6 receivers into the game, just with the special teams challenge. We have a lot of respect for their special teams unit coming in, so we didn't throw anything out, or you have particular special plays for particular receivers, but we felt we had enough time to we didn't have to change our game plan a whole lot.
There's Mike McCarthy, and a lot going on with that team right now. All the stuff about Amari Cooper and him, being unvaccinated, now missing 2 games when maybe he only would have had to miss 1. Maybe he wouldn't have gotten COVID at all because of how vaccines work. Anyway, obviously they take the loss tonight and have a quick turnaround and some uncertainty with where they're going to land. The Chiefs have none of that. They've got a bye, then they'll have 3 straight games against AFC West opponents, and basically it's going to be crunch time from here on out after the Chiefs lock down their bye week. Hopefully enjoy that, get healthy. Hope you do as well. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, your friends, family, food, whatever it is that you enjoy over the course of your holiday weekend. I know I'll be doing that. And we won't have a show next weekend because there's no game. So we'll talk to you the next time the Chiefs take the field here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. Bye, Mom.
Tired of living with awful joint pain? If you've been to an orthopedic surgeon,